of all. He was the one who figured it out. You're Batman, motherfucker.
Yeah, he's one of them.
Like, he broke into his house. Like, I know who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
And I love that they actually took him from that actual comic. I've actually read the comic that movie was based off
the
of.
Nightfall one where he breaks his back and then we get Azrael as Batman for like 2 years and it's really bad. Nobody likes it.
Oh,
and they get rid of it and they delete it and start him up again.
Right.
That was so 90s. You remember that outfit? It's like
a giant like suit. Like
talking to your mic. You're not. Yeah, you need to get your mic in.
Hello.
Yeah, do a little better. That's better. Yeah, get it in position.
Tilt my head.
If it falls off, I can fix it. But just, there you go. But yeah, that was so 90s. Like it's like when you read those like X-Force comics and you saw like Cable and he was like he's comically large and he had like a bunch of pouches and like
it was He-Man time. Dude.
Yeah, and like Rob Liefeld didn't draw his feet because he was bad at drawing feet, so everything was always from the knee up or something.
Arnie was
That's how I saw Azrael. It was so comically bad that I was just like, oh, so.
Have you seen like the Arkham series version of Azrael? He's like all skinny and like he's just like he has like this red hood on and everything.
Wait, is he a character that you can play, or is it like a skin?
No, he's just I think he's just a character in the game that you meet up with, and he's just like some doomsday guy. He's like, you're going to be really important, but not right now.
Fair enough. Until the editors decide that you're really dumb. This was at the time, during the 90s, they were doing like a bunch of like reorganizing at DC. This is like right before they did Death of Superman, which was their like quote unquote like soft reboot. They were going to get rid of Batman and get rid of his ears and all of his bat stuff and just call him Caped Crusader.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
It is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
It might never happen.
That rolls right off the tongue.
Yeah.
Caped Crusader.
You want to read a comic of Caped Crusader?
Oh my God, that sounds almost as dumb as that comic I saw with Superman just kind of becoming this
the red and blue Superman?
No, he was like literally kind of just became nuclear pure energy or whatever. Like he even just phased through stuff and couldn't like even grab.
It sounds like red and blue Superman when it's after the death of Superman when he comes back in the black suit and then Grant Morrison starts writing Justice League and then like at the end of that he becomes Superman red and blue.
Yeah,
like he's too thin. It's so dumb.
Okay, I didn't really like get into the comic. I just saw like a few like little snippets where he's like trying to pick up his coffee cup.
There's all sorts of dumb shit in comics.
Superman's done everything at this point. He's sneezed universes and
he's pulled planets on chains behind him. But then
he
the same era,
time.
But yeah, at the same era, he'd like fight Muhammad Ali in the next comic book.
Right.
I remember reading that. And
then
like, wait, so he can pull planets, but he can't beat like a man who we now know has Parkinson's disease.
Right.
Yeah, he was the greatest of all time.
But the weirdest thing was like a lot of people don't know this, but like when the first concept of Superman, he was actually more akin to Brainiac. Like that's kind of what his power set was, which was
it got to the point where like that's why those 80s Superman movies are so. I don't like them that much. Like a lot of people love the first.
You don't like him throwing the logo at people?
No, the cellophane logo. And that's why those movies are so goofy. Is because they came out like 78 was Superman the movie by Richard Donner, which is a good movie. It's good for its time, but I would never want to watch a Superman movie like that now. Yeah. I'm glad that like Zack Snyder made Man of Steel because like finally I got like a Superman that was based off the comic books that I liked.
Well, they're also tripping on acid, so you can't really blame them.
Yeah, but like the one in 78 when they made that movie, they're basing it off of like the late 60s ones where he could literally do anything.
Yeah,
so that's why in the movies he can literally he can rebuild the wall of China with like his remember that thing with his vision? He can kiss Lois Lane and make her forget. He can fly around China the world. Vision.
He just did whatever the writers wanted him to do.
He did.
And I think honestly, like the old Superman, that's kind of like the magic of him. He just does whatever, and the audience.
He can shoot a little Superman out of his hand. Like that's the thing that he can do.
Superman beam.
Yeah, like his bad guys were more comical, like Mr. Mixelplatix or whatever, the little imp and whatever. It was so comically bad, and like in the 80s when John Byrne came on to Superman, he was like. Which is where I started liking Superman comics, like the mid 80s to now, is he got rid of all that and he was like, what we're going to do is we're going to bring his powers back. We're not going to let him like pull planets behind him anymore or anything. We're going to get rid of all of his comical aspects and we're going to like, get rid of some of his sillier villains and we're going to just like try to ground it a little bit. And that's when like all the best Superman stories were written.
Oh yeah.
Right, yeah, because that whole thing just did not make sense. Like, I could see him being strong enough to pull a planet, but
I figured when you told me,
that chain is not strong enough to pull the planet. He's just gonna keep breaking them. Like,
yeah, comic book logic.
Yeah.
It's like when someone says like,
I'm
whenever
sure it was some kind of magical chain bullshit.
Oh, I'm sure
forged
someone like
by-
went in the background is like, oh well, these are adamantium
Whenever
chains.
I
I mean,
hear-
it's not our universe, but
Yeah.
it's Superman. It works.
That's one of those points. Like that's when I watch like Red Letter Media. I know you like them. I like them
I
too.
love 'em.
But like whenever they like smugly make a point about like some superhero movie and they're like, how would X and such get through this? I'm like, who gives a shit? None of this makes sense. Like,
Well, I feel like that's kind of like for the Phantom Menace series, like with the Star Wars ones that he does as the character Mr. Plinkett. I think they're meant to be like nitpicky and like you wouldn't normally care about half the stuff in there.
Sure.
But I think it's inspired like a whole sloth of these people that do this for a living that's all they do, and they mean it like they don't mean it like as a joke, like they're serious, like all these little nitpicky things, and
Well,
like
it's
and
like-
that's where it becomes a problem.
Yeah, it becomes a matter of like priority in superhero movies. It's like there's certain things that I feel like the audience for superhero movies in general that we pay attention to that we shouldn't really give a fuck about. Like that's why I don't give a shit about like destruction in movies.
Yeah. I think Red Letter Media actually brought that up. Like they complained in like the Avengers, like who's going to clean this up? Funny enough, they bring that up later in a different movie.
Yeah, and
but
Age of
like
Ultron.
at that point, nobody thinks about who's going to clean it up.
like
They're just
when-
getting
Like
entertained.
when everyone's like criticizing like the end of Man of Steel when like a building's coming down, I'm like, what? There's like the imaginary people inside that building are still fine. And my point is like there's a Grant Morrison's one of my favorite comic book writers, and he says like there's an adage he has called "Who changes the tires on the Batmobile?" And he goes, "Nobody." Like
Alfred does.
who
Of
gives a
course he
shit?
does.
It's like, it doesn't matter. It's one of those things that you suspend your disbelief of when you're reading a. You're reading
No,
a.
it
comic-
really doesn't. They just draw new tires. That's all you got to
if
do.
you're reading a comic book about Batman, you've already bought into the premise that crime in Gotham is so bad that the police department has allowed a man to dress up as a bat and beat the shit out of like mentally unstable criminals. Like you've already bought into the most ridiculous part of the premise. So when you go like, how would Batman survive this? Like you're already asking the dumbest question by that point.
But I
Who
do like
gives
how
a
they
shit?
try to kind of explain a lot of those points in Christopher Nolan's trilogy.
Sure.
Like the police
more
were
realism.
never okay
Yeah,
with it.
more
Gordon was
realism.
okay with it,
Yeah.
but
More realism is never a bad thing. Like,
Yeah.
I never like I said, they never call them by their names anymore in superhero movies.
No.
Maybe Spider-Man a little bit because he's still kind of
Oh yeah, because he's self-proclaimed Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He calls himself that,
Spider-Man.
so
Yeah.
he wants people to call him that.
Yeah, like in Batman v Superman, you don't get the sense that Ben Affleck's Batman gives a shit what you call him. Like you call me like, oh no, like that's probably what people call him right
No,
when they
it does
see him or
not.
something before he murders them or something. But yeah, like I can't remember the last time someone's called Tony Stark like Iron Man, and if it is, it's like a member of the media.
It's self-referential. Like,
anyway.
yeah.
he only-
Welcome back to the Movie Date podcast. Our co-host Zach has decided to leave off for greener pastures, and we wish him the best of luck. But today we're talking about a big one. We're talking about Avengers Endgame. I let it Mark Maron into this thing.
Oh, man,
I'm not cutting any of that. I'm leaving it all.
I brought my notes for
I might cut it out.
Chipmunks the Squeakquel.
Yeah. But we're talking about Avengers Endgame. We're talking about the good, the bad, the other bad, the kind of good, the plot holes. Damn it. and with me, might be my new co-host, or it might be just be like two people that'll come back from time to time and do this with me till I find another co-host. But
I'm already committed. I'm having a wonderful time.
my friend at work, Emmett, is here. Say hi, Emmett.
Hello,
And
audience.
Ryan from Aquaman, from the tag team Aquaman episode, is back with us as well.
Well, I think we should just dub him Aquaman from now on.
I am actually Jason Momoa.
No one cares about Namor.
I actually
don't
saw
wanna
him
see a
on
movie.
Ellen today.
Oh yeah, he was talking about the new Aquaman sequel that they're gonna make or whatever, which is coming out like.
He shaved his beard.
Ooh.
It's sad.
Well-
Yeah, no, it is sad.
Oh,
You know,
man, so
like,
he's
they
back
were
to, like-
actually talking a bit about this on the show. That was like out trend. Like it came out on the same day as like the Mueller report came out, and like it was like Jason Momoa cutting his beard out trended the Mueller report.
Oh my God! See,
no one cares about Trump
here's the
anymore. It's
problem.
all about
Here's
the
problem.
real daddy.
Jason Momoa needs to understand
All
with-
those
he should not
20-something
ever
vulvas
shave his beard
shriveled
again because every time Jason Momoa shaves his beard, people are reminded that he was Conan the Barbarian.
Oh God, no, he wasn't.
Remember that movie? I saw that movie.
I never
in
saw
theaters.
it.
Right. I didn't even realize it until like after I saw Aquaman. Like halfway through it, I'm like, that's Conan the Barbarian. I could from his voice. I'm
I
just
was like, "That's Battlestar Galactica, dude." That's me. That's how much I'm familiar with.
He's only Drogo and Aquaman to me.
Yeah.
That's all. That's what.
yes,
we'll
that
say.
is his breakout role right there. Was his
It really
first movie
is.
he ever did.
Yeah. That's like one of those things that's not exactly like the comic books. I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah. And
I don't need Surfer Aquaman anymore. I don't really care.
No.
Even in the comic books, they've changed him up now. They're kind of like being like, people seem to really like this like Asian Islander kind of Aquaman. So we're gonna like.
Well, that's what they did with
darker hair.
Nick Fury, I think. Like, well, actually, I think the Sam Jackson Nick Fury actually came first. Like the design in the comic book, they were like, oh, I'm gonna design and make it look like Sam Jackson, and then they actually cast Sam Jackson as the Nick Fury.
Yeah, I thought he was still white though. He was like a Mr. Clean Fury.
He at first he was white. I think he's definitively now the Sam Jackson Nick Fury.
And then like I remember
back
that.
in the day,
and then
David Hasselhoff used to be Nick Fury.
Oh gosh.
Yeah,
I remember that movie. Oh, so bad.
I don't remember that movie. What movie was that?
This is like from
the last
early
Hasselhoff
80s.
movie I might have saw was Click from Adam Sandler.
Yeah, if you don't count like Guardians.
Oh yeah, he
Guardians
was in that.
2, he's in
Oh
that
yeah,
for a
that's
second.
right.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot he was in that.
But that was a cameo though. So I don't think that counts.
Yeah, I mean, I guess not, but you know, whatever. He's in it.
Yeah.
Good for him. Sylvester Stallone is in that movie.
Yeah, that's weird.
Where?
He plays
He plays the guy who fires
Yondu.
Yondu,
He kicks him out of the Ravagers because he sold children. He's actually pretty good
I can't
in it.
believe that I'm just now realizing
that
that
was a
was
bad
Sylvester
impression. I'm
Stallone.
sorry.
At the end of that's what the thing at the end of the movie is. It's like Stallone and Ving Rhames and some other people. That's supposed to be like the early incarnation of the Guardians. So it's sort of James Gunn being like, hey, we might get a movie with these guys one day.
Right.
Or whatever.
I don't know. I guess I'm just not used to Stallone actually putting effort into his acting.
Yeah.
I think in Creed, I haven't seen Creed 2, but in Creed 1, he's really good.
Yeah, he's solid. Yeah. He's directed Creed 2, and I heard it was pretty good. So
I haven't. I didn't really want to see Rocky 4 again. Like I don't know. Maybe it's great.
I didn't want to. None of the previews for Creed got me psyched either. It's just a friend of mine being like, Rob, like I know you don't like most of the Rocky movies. Like just go see it.
Yeah.
And I saw it and I was like, it's really good.
Yeah.
I like it.
One thing that people bash upon him though about him the most is kind of annoys me because it's not his fault is the way he speaks.
Yeah, like Ryan's impression a second ago.
Yo, Adrian. Like, but no, that actually kind of irritates me when people bash on him for that because it's like, dude, you realize that's from like a stroke he had when he was 10, right? He can't help.
Oh, is that? I never knew that.
Yeah, you feel bad now, Ryan?
Yeah, I feel terrible.
I didn't do the
I'm being
impression.
ableist now.
Let's talk about some movie news. Shazam is, even though I think it's a great movie, is doing okay at the box office.
Sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just came out at a bad time.
Yeah, probably.
It probably did because people's kind of lost faith with DC.
No, but the last movie was
I don't think
Aquaman
that
that
was
made
it. I think they're
$1.2
building up
billion.
momentum.
That I think that was kind of more. I don't know.
I just think the
feel
movies
like
that came out around it.
Yeah. Endgame, and then right before it was Captain Marvel, and then like some other stuff. Now, to be fair, Shazam is made on a surprisingly light budget. It's like $100-ish million.
Yeah.
So it
they
didn't
made
need to
their
make
money.
a lot of money to make its money back. And they've already greenlit a sequel, which is good because those child actors are going to grow up real quick.
Well, I think
Right.
that has the highest rating of all the DC movies. on Rotten
which I
Tomatoes.
think is, I don't think it's the best DC movie. I think you'll probably think it's the best DC movie.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
think that there's a lot that I love in it. There's a lot of heart, and there's a lot of, like, I mean, obviously, like, he's an orphan, so there's a lot of stuff about family. My favorite parts of the movie are like all the magic-y mythical stuff, like when he meets the wizard and stuff, and the wizard's like, I open my heart to you, Billy Batson. And he goes like, and he says like, say my name. And he says it, and like the lightning comes down, and then he vanishes off, and it's like the wizard's last act before he withers away into nothingness or whatever. Slight spoiler. And he screams out the letters of the name of like the letters of Shazam. Like I give you, like I bequeath unto you, like the wisdom of Solomon, the strength of Hercules. And like the lightning is leaving his body. And it's like the last of his magic. Because at the beginning of the movie, it's like 30 years ago, and he casts a seeking spell to find a champion. Because his, so when you meet the wizard for the first time, there's these empty thrones behind him. I don't know if you know anything about Shazam. He gets his
No idea.
The wizard who gives him his power gets his power.
He was the original Captain Marvel.
Yeah, as everyone keeps saying. I knew that joke before it was cool, but I literally read comics and that's what he was called. But there's 7 empty chairs behind him, and they're the source of all magic on Earth, but he's the last one. So like, there's a little thing in the movie. I won't spoil what happens, but like he says, like I have to give you my power so that our brothers and sisters may return. So Shazam is sort of his champion, is the chance to like sort of restore magic to the world in like a sort of subversive way. It's got a great villain by Mark Strong as Dr. Savannah, who was also Sinestro and Green Lantern. the only good part about that movie that I like.
I refuse to go see
Sinestro
that.
was spot on. That's the only thing spot on in that movie.
He's great. He's the best part about that terrible movie.
Yeah.
Because he really like, you reek of fear, Hal Jordan. I was like, oh, that's really good. It's everything I wanted, except for the rest of the movie. But yeah, he's really great in it. There's a lot of cool Easter eggs. There's a bunch of Easter eggs to all the other DC movies, like Billy's foster brother has like batarangs from like that he found or whatever, and like he's got like a bullet that hit Superman that's worth like $500 on eBay. And like I'll say like the premise itself is really cool. Like it's a kid getting superpowers. The only thing I don't like about the movie is it's very light on action. And it's not, and like I was expecting like this last act of the movie to be big and like action packed, and like he finally,
all of them, though.
Huh?
That's all of them though.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like it is though. Like it doesn't feel like he ever gets a chance to like be confident in his powers.
Yeah.
And I do feel like in the movie we have enough time to see him use his powers. There's some cool like lightning stuff, and there's some really great emotional beats that I'm like that teared me up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's good, and I bet you if you see it, you'll really dig it. And the rumor is, I mean, we know for sure The Rock is going to play Black Adam.
Yeah.
In his solo, and he's getting a solo movie that features like the Justice Society of America is going to like cameo in it and stuff. So I want to see that. And there is a cameo ish in the movie of the Wizards' previous champion, which is why he's so hesitant to give the power to someone else. Yeah. And so we sort of get to see Black Adam in the movie for a little bit. Sweet. So anyway.
I think that would be really good as long as The Rock is not his like kind of stereotypical.
Can't be funny.
Yeah.
You got to be serious. Yeah. Black Adam's like a slave turned warlord or whatever.
The Rock has a habit of being like taking his seriousness and making it funny.
Like he's just charismatic that way. That's just who he is.
I mean, he is, but I mean, that's all part of being a good actor is learning to break those humanistic habits of yourself and not bring that to the character at all.
He wasn't very funny in the Scorpion King. Well, he was, but not in the way he wanted.
Yeah. And Black Adam like is a serious character. Like he balances out the silliness of Shazam. And even like
just but being a total dick.
Yeah, but I'd love to see like this. I'd love to see like him and Shazam go up against each other, and I'd love to see I'd love to see him and The Rock like become members of the Justice League at some point. Because and there's versions where Black Adam is sort of an anti-hero and he kind of hangs around and like helps out when needed, but he kind of doesn't really consider himself a hero or anything. And it's The Rock, and they kind of have said the words anti-hero about Black Adam, so hopefully we'll get to see him in like other DC properties as well.
Maybe. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like I wasn't sure how I felt about it when they announced the Venom movie and how he was going to be more of an anti-hero, because I was just like, but Venom's a straight up villain. I don't what?
Yeah. Yeah,
I ended up liking it though.
Did you see our episode on that?
I did.
Yeah.
I saw part. Yeah, I listened to part of it. Yeah. They need to do the Flash Thompson Venom.
Yeah, it's not a good movie.
Just make him a bounty hunter in space.
I do think that Tom Hardy had a great time making that movie.
Oh, he did.
You saw it. He had the time of his life.
He did. Like, he loved that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. It's whatever.
I was a loser on my planet.
I actually like that stuff. That's the only part. The stuff where he talks to Venom is some of the only stuff that I like in the movie.
That's the only part.
I love his reactions to Venom, especially in the beginning. Like, like with that scene where he just fucking freaks out and falls into the shower.
Even Ronald McDonald, Woody Harrelson at the end as Cletus Cassidy or whatever wasn't enough to like make me like buy the movie. Like, yeah, we'll see him as Carnage, but I'm like, in this kind of a universe, like, and it's PG-13. The sequel's going to be PG-13. So can you do a serial killer symbiote who's not bloodthirsty?
Oh man, I thought it was going to be good when I figured out Woody Harrelson was going to be Carnage, but now that you just broken my heart.
Give me back.
Like, if anything, it needs to be unrated. It should be rated X.
Yeah, or at least like rated R. Like, give me some like I wanted to see like Venom eat somebody in this movie. Like, remember that part at the end where he attacks that dude in the thing? I thought he was like, eat that dude. But like, we're only gonna eat bad people. I was like, fine, I'll accept that. Eat a person. Eat his whole face. Like, I don't care. I wanted a horror-ish Venom movie. Anyway, let's get away from this stuff. Any movie news you guys want to talk about? Mandalorian footage. Did you see any of that?
No, I haven't.
It was at Star Wars Celebration.
I haven't seen it.
Looks pretty cool.
I want to talk about the new movie that's dropping that looks like the Evil Superman. What was it called again?
Brightburn.
Brightburn, yes.
By David Yarovsky, and it's sort of produced by James Gunn and his brothers.
I'm actually kind of curious because it's like he's literally has Superman's powers that we can see so far. Like, is he a Kryptonian? Like, is this connected?
We talked about this I think on the Venom episode or something, where me and Zach were like, is this copyright infringement? Because they even used the same font from the Man of Steel trailers that I love so much.
And I was like, fist on the ground and like the dust starts to swirl up.
But like it is everything. Like you see, there's a part in one of the trailers where you see him like he looks at the camera and it's rating.
You are meant to be the most important.
Or what if he's actually?
You get kind of speeches kind of like that, and there's shots of like a pale blue truck that was in Man of Steel, and there's like the endless fields of wheat, and there's like the C major music, and there's like a part where you see like he has heat vision, which is Superman's thing.
Go hide under the bridge, son. I have to go die now.
There is part of me that watched that movie and being like, this is an interesting concept, but you are really piggybacking off of like Zack Snyder's tone and the feel of this movie.
They're just kind of trying to throw us for a loop, like, oh, this is a movie.
And also,
then all of a sudden, like, when we go to see it, we're gonna figure out, oh no, this is actual Superman in a different universe.
No, it's not. It can't be because it's by Sony and they don't own the rights to any of the DC properties.
Yeah. Well, maybe Sony just wanted their own take on it.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's nondescript enough that they can get away with it. I saw interviews with James Gunn being like, I had this really great original idea of like, no, stop right there. And I
kind of hope that that's exactly what it is, but they just call him like Great Man or something. It's just something like ridiculous.
Well, I can't remember if he has a name or not. The kid's name is Brandon Breyer, and the name of the town is Brightburn, Kansas. So that's where they get the name of the movie.
Wow,
from.
They even said it in Kansas too.
The trailers genuinely intrigue me. Like, have you seen all of them yet?
Yeah.
At the end of the last one, where the cop comes up to the door and he's like, "Hey, are you okay?" And then you see him like just super speed the cop off, and like he just like broke his back. I was like, that's terrifying.
I'm like, just sitting here the whole time like I'm 100% convinced like this is an Ultraman movie in disguise.
Yeah. Like there's parts of like where he breaks that woman's neck when he's standing across the diner from her and he just super speeds and snaps. Go watch those trailers, Ryan, because you'll probably dig it.
All right,
I dig
What's it called
too.
One more time.
Brightburn.
Brightburn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like a 12-year-old kid as like superpowered Superman, and like I will say like I don't think James Gunn should pat himself too hard on the back. One, he's not directing this and he didn't write it. I think his brothers wrote it and stuff, but he's a producer on it. But he says, I don't think it's that original. There's a million stories about evil Superman. There's a million stories about knockoff evil Supermans. One of my favorite stories by my favorite Superman writer, Mark Waid, is called Irredeemable. And it's literally about like, what would happen if like you had a Superman character in like a world of superheroes. They were like the Justice League, and then like the head honcho superhero, their sort of Superman guy, just went like crazy, like snapped and went bloodthirsty evil. And it's like, it's a great story. It won a bunch of awards. But I'm like, you know, Invincible is basically that, like Omni-Man or whatever his dad is. Is it Ultraman? Have you read Invincible?
No.
I can't remember what his dad's name is. I think it's Omni-Man or something, but his dad is like the Superman character of that universe. And then it turns out, oh, he's an alien sent to this planet to destroy everybody on it and make his son help him. And that's the plot of Invincible.
And there's also Injustice too.
And there's literal evil Superman stories too. Some would say Man of Steel. I would say go fuck yourself. But so like I don't know if it's original, but like I like to see them leaning into the horror stuff because there's some scary shit in that trailer.
Yeah, it's kind of like Superman meets The Omen.
There's a part in that second trailer. Yes, exactly. And there's a part where like you see news footage and like, oh, this passenger jet crashes in Kansas or whatever, and you see the kid sitting there like with soot and ash all over him eating chocolate, just kind of being like so innocent looking, and like this kid brought down a passenger jet and killed like 500 people.
And all I could think of is what would motivate the kid to take a passenger jet just flying over? Like, did he just not like the chemtrails it was releasing or something?
I have a theory. It's gonna be like, oh, he's kind of bullied at school, he's different, they don't like him. But I also think it's gonna have something to do with like alien programming. Like he was sent from like kind of, I think they're going to steal kind of from Invincible, where like Invincible's dad tells him like, oh, we're from this empire out in space and we're sent to planets to conquer them and destroy them and sell them or whatever. And I think it's going to be like that. Like he was programmed kind of like little kid Goku to come here and destroy the world.
Yeah.
And like that's what it's going to be or something like that. And I wonder how they're going to beat him because
bump him on the head. That's what.
Yeah, I mean that's what does it for Goku.
Right.
But I wonder if they're going to introduce some sort of fail-safey kryptonite gimmick. I doubt it. I don't think they'll be that lazy.
That'd be lame.
Yeah, but like,
you know what I would love? Then that is blatantly like they couldn't get away with
this.
That.
This is Argonite. Like, that's Hyperion's weakness from Marvel. Their Superman character, like his weakness is Argonite and stuff. So like, yeah,
which is ironic because like both of those kryptonite and argonite are actually elements on the periodic table.
Yeah, now isn't kryptonite now an actual element or
No, it has been. Like that's where they got the name of kryptonite from. Like they just pulled it straight from the periodic table.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No, actually, the element is Krypton. What the planet name? It's not kryptonite. It's Krypton.
Okay. Yeah. I do want to see it. You know what I would love the ending to be if he just like they can't beat him.
And he just destroys everything.
Yeah. Or like society.
That'd be the most likely scenario.
Society continues. I mean, that's literally what would happen if there's no other superheroes. Like you can't stop that. But like, I would like the idea if like society continues, but then every once in a while, like they hear like sonic booms in the sky and they all look up and they're scared. Like what used to be like, oh, up in the sky, it's Superman. Now it's like up in the sky. That sounds
oh shit, run.
Yeah. So that would be really cool. And like society doesn't collapse. He doesn't destroy the world, but like there's a bloodthirsty, unstoppable madman that will unfortunately sometimes wreak calamity on any town or city when he wins. That'd be scary.
Like he doesn't want to destroy everything. He just wants to instill instill fear in the hearts of people every so often.
Yeah, and like that's the tagline of the movie is like you'll remember his name or something like that. And I was like, I like the bigness of the movie. I'm waiting for it to come out, which I think comes out in like about a month. So we'll have to check that out and maybe do an episode. I don't have any more movie news. Does anyone else want to do this, or you want to get started with the big thing?
How excited are y'all for the Sonic the Hedgehog?
They agreed to change his design.
Because of the internet outrage. It was the same thing with Aladdin. Like they saw Will Smith as the genie for 1/2 of a second. And they were like, boo. And then they saw the next trailer and it was like, all right, it looks pretty good. Yeah. It looks okay.
This next trailer of Aladdin.
I even love that he does a little bit. I'm sorry to stop the Sonic.
Oh, go ahead.
But when Will Smith, when he rubs the lamp and we first see Will Smith as a genie, that little speech where he's like I stand by my oath, thee who has summoned me, loyalty to wishes 3, and like it's like a real booming, intimidating, like divine voice. And then he goes, I'm just kidding, watch this. And like he does like he does the never had a friend like me bit. Yeah, pretty good. And I like the little snaps of magic that
like
he does.
How he's moving around, his animation and stuff.
I think it's going to be good. I'm excited for it. The only thing I don't like about it is I think sort of how they let Robin Williams just sort of be Robin Williams for the genie. Yeah. I think they're just going to let Will Smith be Will Smith and kind of do his own thing. Yeah. I don't really care about Jafar. It's kind of boring.
Jafar looks
and the guy who's Aladdin is okay.
I've not seen any shots of Jafar yet.
He's barely.
Bring me the lamp.
Bring me the lamp. I can make you rich.
Look how boring I sound compared to my cartoon counterpart.
You sound better than that. Like even like I remember like in the cartoon he was so like foreboding and
he's
intimidating.
So over the top and that's what makes him great.
Right.
Even that laugh. The laugh starts off as like.
I heard someone make like a good point about why the cartoon Jafar works because he's like so over the top evil and the Sultan's like, yeah, that's my guy. And we're like, what do you mean? He's so evil. He has like this curly like beard and he has like a snake staff. Yeah. He has like this evil asshole parrot for a friend or whatever.
And when he makes you think who's playing him? Because I want to
I don't know. The actor who plays him is like someone like a lot of women like him because he's really handsome. So like handsome Jafar or whatever. But like I don't like his. I want the deep evening Iago kind of voice.
Right, like
yeah. But I do think the movie is probably going to be good. I want to like see like.
Well, the rest of them, all those Disney movies that make live action have been great. Like the Jungle Book, brilliant.
Yeah. I liked the Jungle Book. Lion King, I'm not so sure about though.
We'll have to see
the live, not so live action Lion King.
Yeah,
dude. But what I heard, they like literally took what's his faces who played Mufasa.
James Earl Jones is still alive.
Oh, he is. Yeah, I thought he died. But anyway,
some of the trailer stuff is still the exact audio from the 1992 because he doesn't sound like that anymore. Is he playing him again? Then?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh well, so
yeah, it's a lot of it.
Then like I have 100% confidence it's going to be.
Yeah, at least in the trailers, like they just took it from the old movie. Like that sounds exactly like the audio from last time.
Yeah,
because like if you hear him in like Rogue One, he doesn't sound like himself anymore. He sounds old.
He sounds a little crusty, which is fine. I still liked the Darth Vader scenes in Rogue One.
I mean, everyone liked I liked the last scene. I didn't like
Darth Vader anymore.
Don't get choked up.
Oh God!
Whatever.
Don't relitigate that argument with me. We had this huge argument one time on Facebook because Rogue One just came out and I liked it. He thought it was all right.
So far, it's my favorite Star Wars movie. Is my favorite standalone story.
Let me finish this first, then you can lay into it if you want. So we had this argument of I really like the scene where whatever his name, Captain Colonel
Exactly.
Krennic.
That's my point of the movie. You don't even remember his name.
No, what's the bad guy's name? Krennic? It's like Ambassador Krennic. Whatever. The guy, he goes to see Darth Vader to ask him to go around his superiors. And he chastises him and said, like, your little weapon is becoming a real pain in my ass, blah, blah, blah. And at the very end, he tries to talk to him and he can't talk because he's being choked by something. Like, oh, he's doing the force choke thing. And then he turns around and he says, be careful not to choke on your aspirations. And then he walks away. And Ryan was like, that was so cheesy. And I was like, Darth Vader has made like kind of vague jokes before when choking someone out. And I said, he says like, you said like name one or something like that. And I said, what about like apology accepted, Captain Nita? When he kills him, he falls over dead. And I was like, that's a funny moment. Like, cause like
it is, but
like,
even though it was corny, like Vader just kind of has a way of still making that work.
Yeah. And like right before the guy's like, I will accept responsibility and apologize to Lord Vader. And then the next scene is him dead on the ground. So I was like, I thought it was funny. And then we got this.
And then it's like, congratulations, Captain, you've been promoted.
We got this hilarious argument over like intentional humor versus him making a joke. My point is, I still like Darth Vader in that movie. I think
I think it like, see, I've come around on your point just a little bit. I think it's funny because like he's like an asshole about it, but he's not like outright making a joke.
Also,
like,
Anakin Skywalker is never funny in the prequels. So where does his sense of humor come from? That's like you'd make that joke, but would Hayden Christensen or whatever?
Yeah, he's just being quib.
Yeah.
I think
he would talk about sand. He'd be like, "Did you bring sand to my island?"
Do you think we're gonna see Ghost Hayden Christensen in the last?
You know what? I'll be honest. I hope we do see him again. Yeah, because I feel like that dude gets a lot of shit. Like his life is
his performance was fine. It was just the writing of his character was terrible.
There's plenty of moments in Revenge of the Sith where I feel like he does a good job,
especially the silent moments when he's just
or the opera house scene.
Yeah,
he's fine. He's a good actor. Just like give him like a movie. Give him like I would not hate if we have like a flashbacky sequence in Rise of Skywalker where we see him as Darth Vader and maybe he's trying to like talk Kylo Ren back to the light or something or some force vision. I wouldn't hate that. I wouldn't hate to see any of those people again. Except for like General Grievous or something.
You would love to see Jar Jar again?
Yes, because you know what? Star Wars fans have been a real dick to that dude, and they made him contemplate suicide and all sorts of shit.
That is actually terrible. I mean, I wouldn't like outright. I mean, like,
I'd cast him as a stormtrooper.
Like I still
Daniel
stand
Craig.
by. Like I don't like
see?
the character of Rose, but I'd never go after her on Twitter and say like you suck. I'm like that's
yeah. You know what I would do? I would Daniel Craig, like The Force Awakens. I'd cast Ahmed Best, who plays Jar Jar, as like a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
I'd give him like a cool traitor moment or something like that, and like I don't know. I'm stoked for the new Star Wars. I don't even know how we got here. What were we talking about? Star Wars, The Mandalorian. We were talking about
Sonic the Hedgehog.
We
completely skipped over it too. I'm sorry, man.
I will sum up my thoughts immediately. I do not care about that movie, and I could care less about what.
Oh, I'm so excited for that to come on Redbox, and I just get hammered and watch it. Yeah. And just be disappointed.
I don't even feel.
Watch Jim Carrey come out of hiding for one performance.
I'm excited for it to be compared to the last Green Lantern movie. Because that's what I see, like just a Blue Lantern.
Yeah, I just feel like even if it looked exactly like the character, I wouldn't care. I don't care about Sonic. Yeah, I don't have this great affinity for Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm not.
I mean, I used to play the games. I kind of do, but at the same time, like no one asked for this movie.
5.
Probably. I mean, like,
have you ever played the game of you put your name in and then put the hedgehog on Google?
Oh, I remember those awesome Crush 40 soundtracks from the day.
Oh, I still listen to those. They're still sick. I don't care.
Did too. Was it Sonic Adventures on Dreamcast?
Oh, yes.
You get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't care. Change the look, make the look worse. I don't care about these neck beards complaining about.
The furry Sonic in me kind of wants to rouge the bat,
right? Like I had no complaints about like the visual of it.
That'd be the worst.
My complaint is that they
give up on humanity if they bring in Shadow.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope it's good. I hope that people who love Sonic the Hedgehog get a dope movie.
Too much edge for me.
Yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the big reason we're here. Because we've been talking for like half an hour.
Oh shit.
I'm having a good time.
Yeah, it's all right. Avengers Endgame came out. 11 years in the making. We've reached the end of what feels like the first end of a large saga of movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yep.
Came out, made a lot of money, a lot of critical praise, and
it's gonna pass Avatar soon.
You think so?
I think so. What is the record right now? 2.7?
Something like that.
And it took like
I think it
over
already
a year
has.
to get to that point.
Yeah, because they kept re-releasing it in theaters, and like it was such a big demand.
it passed Titanic in what, like 11, 12 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I
crazy.
remember back in the day when Return of the King was the third highest grossing movie.
That's
of all time.
crazy.
I know. Now we're like at this thing, like that's like down the list at 14 or some shit.
Yeah.
I will say, I think Return of the King is a better movie than this. but Return of the King is one of my favorite fantasy movies of all time.
I will say one thing about Endgame: it only ends once. It doesn't have 8 endings.
Hey man, I mean, some people love this movie was long as shit. So like a lot of people would probably be like, I never wanted it to end. Like,
Yeah, I remember I had to pee so bad I was running out of that theater.
I purposely didn't drink all day before I started. I watched it. I was like, I'm not going to the restroom.
I drank the entire time, and I didn't have to go piss once.
I did go to the restroom twice before the movie started, and I missed the first like 15 seconds of it, and then I just watched it all the way through, and I was fine.
I've been following these movies for a long time. Some people out there probably think I really shit on them or don't like them. I like most of them. I like the MCU on the whole. I think that like it's a pretty monumental thing. They were able to create what's this, like 24 films now or something?
It's something like that. Yeah.
It's pretty great. They were able to create a block of movies, and the number of them that I hate is only like 4 or 5 maybe. That I really don't like, that I really hate is like probably 3 or 4.
I can't say there's any that I hated. I mean, I wasn't that big of a fan of the Dark World because it seemed kind of bland.
Yeah, but most of them are at least like they hold my interest, and I would say like at least 10 of them I think are like real good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I still haven't bought Ant-Man and the Wasp because I just can't do it to myself. And like, I'm never going to watch this, but I have like all the collection.
Me
but
too.
You.
I do too. Like I am not there. Like that's why I did the same thing with Thor: The Dark World. Like I have Thor: The Dark World. I'm not going to watch it. But like,
I loved Ant-Man and the Wasp purely because of the fact that they had I thought they had one of the greatest villains. Like there was actual compelling reasoning to that villain. Like
maybe I thought it was
okay.
It was fine. I like the first Ant-Man better, probably.
Oh yeah, the first Ant-Man's way better.
And I don't even like Ant-Man that much.
I like Paul. Let's say I like the character of Ant-Man.
You know what the problem is? I don't like, and I've said it a couple times, I'm not anti-humor. The funny Marvel movies are not the ones that get me the most. The ones that I like the most are like, I love Civil War. Civil War started off being like my 5th favorite, and now it's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
Because of all the emotion and stuff, and all the character arcs that we kind of see in it. Like I like the more serious fare. Even the serious ones have jokes. So like I'm never like there's just we don't have enough jokes here. Like so when I see a movie like that, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Thor Ragnarok, Thor: The Dark World, or like kind of Guardians 2.
Guardians 2 for sure.
They kind of just exhaust me with their humor. Like they make me not take the rest of the movie.
But Guardians I think was always supposed to be that way. So I can accept that.
Does the mix perfectly.
Like Ant-Man and the Wasp movie should definitely be funny. I just don't know if that's what I want.
Because I mean it's Paul Rudd.
If they made a dark, brooding Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, I'd be like, I'm interested in this, but no one else is gonna like this.
I just didn't care like all of Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I guess spoilers, whatever, but like I went into this movie fully expecting at the very end, Paul Rudd finally gets everything that he wants. And he's like, oh, yeah. And then like his daughter just like evaporates right in front of him. I wanted it so bad. And then they didn't do it that way. And I'm like,
wait, at the end of Endgame?
Well, not at the end of the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp. I wanted the daughter to evaporate, and like that's like his motivation. I get that they needed to do it a certain way.
Kind of give you that. I mean, Hank Pym. The mom, who cares? And Evangeline Lilly's the Wasp.
Nobody's choking up over.
But we got, and this episode's going to be like full spoilers. Usually we do a non-spoiler section and a full spoiler, but we're already been talking for a while, and everyone's seen this, and if you haven't seen it by now,
what are you doing?
You're not watching this.
Where have you been? I work 60 hours a week, and I did it.
We do get that in Endgame with Hawkeye. He gets the worst.
Yeah, he does.
They at least supplement it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's Ant-Man. I just, I like this more serious stuff. Like I like the DC movies. I think they're super underappreciated. So like whenever I see what'd you say? What did you say?
Everyone's just so
I love
full of depression
popping on Suicide Squad.
They want that.
Suicide Squad's not dark. It's shot dark, but it's not a dark movie. My point is I like the serious stuff. And whenever like I see like a serious superhero movie, whether it's like Infinity War, Logan, like like movies that like take their stuff seriously.
I watch Logan again. It's so good.
It is. It's good.
It is.
And like whenever there's like what I love, like Infinity War is dark, Civil War,
Winter Soldier was good.
Winter Soldier is good, but like
it's my favorite one.
It's fallen down for me a lot.
Really?
Because the emotional satisfaction at the end of like even Infinity War or Civil War is so big to me. Like even like the, that shield belongs to my father. Like you don't deserve that shield or whatever. Like that broke me. And I was like, come on, because you feel how much Tony loved his dad and you feel like how hard it was for Captain America to make this choice. Like that's like, we don't really get that in Winter Soldier. We get like, it's me and you till the end of the line. Like we get some stuff.
That's so good though. It's so good.
But it's not as bad. It's not.
There's not as much gravity behind it. I agree. Like even like the peaks of Endgame, I say are way better than Winter Soldier. But I think overall, Winter Soldier is like the superior film.
I don't know.
It
has more plot holes for me.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but like my point. Yeah, but it's it's definitely a good one, and it's got some great hand-to-hand combat scenes. Yeah. It really upped the game.
It had the same. I think it had the same. Unless I'm mistaken, it had the same like action director as maybe like the Raid films, or they at least drew inspiration from the Raid films.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the same guy because that's Gareth Evans, who I believe is doing a Deathstroke film for DC. So you might get like a really hallway fighty Deathstroke movie. Awesome. Who he was gonna be the villain for the Batman movie, and then Ben Affleck stepped away. So now I'm like, what? They better knock this Batman movie out of the park because I wanted Batman v Deathstroke, but I like the more I like the more serious stuff. So the funny stuff just kind of exhausts me, and I'll be honest, it exhausts me in this movie a little bit. I talked to you at work about there's always a moment in like most Marvel movies, and the worst ones it happens a lot where there's a serious moment and they have a moment to really like bring it home and let it breathe. Like a good example of this is like when Tony sees his dad like savagely beat to death by the Winter Soldier in Civil War, and you're just stuck there looking at Tony's face, and you'd have to sit there and breathe in the movie. And then like they cut, like an example of them doing it badly would be like they cut to a joke, like David Hasselhoff shows up in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, that'd be the most inappropriate thing to do it,
or something like that. And I was like, I like when they let it breathe,
like right off the bat in Endgame, like just is actually I think one of the only jokes I remember him making was, I'm not gonna lie, I thought you were a Care Bear this whole time. Yeah, maybe I am.
There's some jokes in it, and I feel like it's like Infinity War. There's probably one or two much for me, but it's pretty smooth. Let's go around and just say like, did we like it? I'll go with you, Ryan.
I mean, of course I liked it. I mean,
did you love it?
I love parts of it. Like I like that ending, like the last like 45 minutes of it, I think is perfect. Like I wouldn't do it any other way. I would say when I was first watching it, like when in like maybe like the first hour or so, I was a little worried. Like everyone like kept like a lot of people saw it like at screenings and stuff before me, and they were saying it was great, like it was getting all these great ratings. And then I just see them like taking all these risks, and like it's not panning out the way exactly you would think it would, and we're like, okay, like this is kind of weird. And like, you know, like Hulk and Bruce Banner are like one person. And like I thought that was a weird risk. Like Thor's a fat person now, and I thought that was weird.
Oh man!
And it's just like I thought. I thought like a lot of it was fine, and then it like builds up to like this is like some of the best stuff I've ever seen ever.
I feel like that's kind of where I'm at with it's in the history of the
like MCU, it's not like consistently good like Infinity War was.
Yeah.
But its peaks are higher than Infinity War, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
I would have to agree with you.
The peaks, but the peak at the end, I think is better.
Yeah.
Did you like it, Emmett?
As a whole, I did love it. Yes.
Yeah.
There's plenty of points I did not like their inconsistency with explaining time travel. Like,
we'll get to that.
Why can't we just go with? Why can't we go with Back to the Future rules? Like, and it's simple. Everyone knows. They make a
point to say that this is not how time travel works.
Yeah, they make a point to say that's
this is how time travel works.
every time time travel comes up in movies, I always think of that Austin Powers joke that like it's the second one, and like Austin Powers is like, Basil, what if I like go back in time and like I do all this stuff and oh no, I've gone cross-eyed, and then Basil's like, Austin, I wouldn't worry about that sort of thing and just enjoy yourself. And then he turns to the camera. That goes for you all too. So you just like you just kind of got to have to suspend your disbelief for a lot of that stuff.
It is kind of a superhero-y thing where like who changes the tires on the Batmobile? Like shut up. It doesn't matter. Go away.
Right.
A man flies and shoots lasers out of his eyes in this movie too.
Or
It's like
the aftermath of reversing the snap, like the actual shit that would just completely fuck up.
maybe. Yeah.
Because
it takes everybody back to where they were when they died. What if like
Yeah.
your planet has moved in space since that happened? You materialize in space and like
Right.
suffocate to death.
Yeah, they'd have to time it exactly like it. Hold on, this is the date exactly 5 years ago?
Or
that
like your
happened, right?
planet
Okay.
is gone, or like
When someone just kind of appears,
like a tree fell right where you died. Like do you materialize inside?
Like midway through a tree.
I think I'm actually more on where Ryan was than I thought I would be. I was expecting Ryan to be like, it's the greatest thing ever. And I was to be like, I'm like, it's pretty good, but I didn't like these parts or whatever. But I think it's for a movie that is 3 hours long, which I wish that this is another example of like, I wish they would have made like when Batman v Superman came out, I wish they would have just released the director's cut.
Yeah.
Because it shows like people will sit through a long movie if you give them like all the
Just keep their attention.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, but I think we all know why the director's cut was not released.
because Warner Brothers doesn't like money.
Because everyone kind of hates Brie Larson at this point. Because I believe the original cut.
I thought you were talking about Batman v Superman. I was like, what are you talking about?
no.
Brie Larson's not in that
she's a
movie.
hidden character in the movie.
Yeah,
she's
like
cut from the
there's a
movie.
cut that has a lot more of
She
her
was
in the
Shazam.
movie.
She was the original Captain Marvel.
I think they utilized her perfect in
See, I
Endgame.
don't
Like
know if I agree.
they just didn't use her very much, and like great. Like,
I think they should have used the character
this
more.
This is the old
This
guard's
is why
time
I
to
don't
shine.
like-
Like you,
Yeah,
like give them their moment, sure, but like
my point is for a movie that's 3 hours long and it is I'll tilt my hand a little bit here. It's very predictable. Like if you have to predict what's the next movie after Endgame, how do they do this? I'm like, they're gonna go back in time, they're gonna get the Infinity Stones,
Yeah.
they're gonna reverse the snap, Thanos is gonna come and trying to stop it, and then they're gonna kill him. And I was
it's all about the how, though. Like
Yeah,
it's kind of like the
I'm-
Titan. We know the Titanic's going to sink, but it's just about how
Sure.
how it's
It's
going
not
to
what
happen.
you're
but I mean,
it's
if
how you're about it,
Thanos,
but-
if he did not like do a second snap to wish away the Infinity Stones, they wouldn't have needed to go back in time. They could have just
my point is like for a movie that is about like it's a big risk takey thing, it's kind of safe.
yeah.
It's about sort of giving yourself a victory lap in a way, if I can say
Yeah.
that.
But that's all.
That doesn't mean it's bad, but it's predictable and it has a lot more plot holes than people might want to admit. Like more than Infinity War. Infinity War to me felt, if you don't accept the whole like, why doesn't he just make more food when he's not like that's the plot hole? But other than that, like I don't think it has a lot of plot holes. I
Yeah.
think it's pretty airtight for the most part. This movie is not airtight.
No.
This movie has a lot of plot holes. But I kind of like it has a lot of plot holes and it has a lot of like that's a weird character choice. Really? We're gonna go with that one? Like we go back to Thor the Dark World. But
hey, that did have a good moment in there.
yeah,
though.
he gets to see his mom, which
Yeah.
I liked.
But-
But
That
has a-
whole
Though
When you think
pep
about
talk
it,
she
that
gave him
universe's
kind of
store doesn't
felt
have a Mjolnir.
right, huh?
That universe's store doesn't have a Mjolnir.
yeah, if
He goes
according
back
to
in
their-
time. He takes the hammer. I guess you're screwed. I guess
No, he
that
goes
world's
and brings
destroyed.
it back though. Like Captain America, like
Does he? Does he have Mjolnir when he leaves? Do we
Yeah.
see that? How
Uh-huh.
does he get there?
He takes
How
it
does he
back?
time travel? How does he go to space? And get
no,
to
that's
Just give him enough
Dude,
pin particles to
that's
do it as
simple.
much as he
Like the
needed to.
second Cap went, or the second Cap went back, he's just got to like bury Mjolnir in the ground somewhere, and whenever it gets,
Thor will do this for 5 years waiting for it to come to him.
The dark
Well, I
elf
mean,
that I don't remember the name to.
the
just
further
destroys
away
that,
he is,
that
like it
universe's
is stated in
world.
some kind of
Right,
comic that Mjolnir can travel to him at the speed of
Yeah.
light. So,
So,
it's not like he's going to
Let's-
notice.
So yeah, we both like it. We all like it or love it to varying degrees, probably. Let's
Yeah.
talk about like the stuff that I think it does great. I want to start with like performances, and I want to start with like the dude at the top for me,
Robert Downey.
Yeah,
Because even in movies that aren't his, I'm looking at you, Civil War, he steals the show with how good he is.
Yeah.
Even though he plays himself, his instincts as an actor, his little like the little freak out he does to Captain America when
Yeah.
he comes back and like we lost big time.
I like
It's
how
because of you, and
sickly
you
he
said we were
looked.
gonna lose together, and buddy, we lost together. Like it's your fault. And I was like, yeah, I love that. Eat your shit, Cap. Like that's
Yeah.
good. Captain America's way better in this movie too.
Oh, he's so good in
He's
this
so
movie.
much better in this movie than Endgame. He doesn't, or Infinity War. He doesn't have as much to do. But
Well,
here
they didn't
he
give
has,
him anything in that movie.
here it's like he gets to kind of be Captain America. But like Robert Downey Jr. is still the best actor in these movies.
I like
And all of these movies, like look at the ones that he's in. He's in Iron Man. He's in Incredible Hulk. He's in Iron Man 2. He's in the Avengers. He's in Iron Man 3. He's in Age of Ultron. He's in Captain America: Civil War, Spider-Man: Homecoming. Then he's in Avengers Endgame, and Infinity War. 20-something movies. He's in 10 of them.
Yeah.
That's how much of a linchpin this dude is to this universe in general. And he's great in all
he
of
made
them.
another cameo because it was stated somewhere that he was actually in 11.
Oh, he was? Oh, I
Yeah.
don't remember what that was.
I can't remember what I don't know. I think he did maybe a cameo at the end of the first Thor.
No,
It's
he
possible.
wasn't in that movie.
Yeah. My point is
No,
he's
well, I
in,
mean like the end credit scenes because I don't remember those end credits.
The end credit scene is what the hell? I think it's just Loki coming back for Stellan Skarsgård or something.
Yeah.
He goes behind him.
Maybe.
And then Stellan
Whispers in his ear
Skarsgård
and then-
says something exactly what Loki just said.
But yeah, my point is like that guy is great. And even in like Iron Man 2,
The character turned his life around.
yeah, really did. And now it's to the point where I'm like, what is he going to do after this? All of his movies that aren't these are kind of boring. Except for maybe like the first Sherlock Holmes or something. It's been so long since he's done one of those.
He
Like,
can do whatever he wants now.
Yeah. I mean,
no,
he
there
can,
was- have
but,
you
like,
ever
is
seen
anyone
the-
gonna line up to see not Iron Man?
Yeah.
Because I like, you really? You think so?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
like,
I mean,
everyone
I
loves
thought he
Robert
was
Downey
great
Jr.
in Charlie Bartlett. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
Yeah,
or
but that's
not.
before Iron Man, though.
No, that was actually right after Iron Man.
Really?
Yeah.
Iron Man of 2008. I feel like that movie was like before that.
No,
I could
I
be
mean
wrong.
it was the same year, but I mean it was.
But yeah, but were people going to see that or Iron Man? Like, it's not a big
people were going
box
to see
office
Iron
smash.
Man,
Yeah,
but-
but he's good in a lot of movies. I'm just saying, like, I want him. What's the next big thing he's gonna do? Does he want to do a big thing? I hope he does.
I mean, that was the big. That's going to be the biggest thing of his life.
I
being
think he
Iron
should
Man.
do a.
Yeah.
I think he should do a gangster movie. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd watch that.
Yeah.
My point is, like, that guy is, as an actor, is great, and I got to see him go from like the first Iron Man movie. Even that is still great.
The journey of his character is one of the best told stories.
From the
I think.
moment in the cave with when Jensen dies, and he's like, "Don't waste your life," and he just like, there's that little character moment where he just pauses and he kind of looks at him and he swallows and he goes, "Thanks for saving my life." It's so heartfelt and so heartwarming watching this dude grow, all the way to like, you know, the Avengers, you know, Captain America, like, you're not the guy to make the sacrifice play, to lay down on the wire and let another guy crawl across you. And like, he takes the thing through the other the
Thinking
wormhole.
he's gonna die.
And then, like,
yeah.
like that's when everyone's like, "Oh, I hope Captain America dies." I'm like, "Fuck Captain America dying." It won't. Captain America's whole thing is like, "I'm a soldier of duty." It will mean nothing if he dies. If Robert Downey Jr. dies, it's the first, not officially the first Avenger, but it's like the guy who is responsible for like all of this stuff and who wants to build a suit of armor around the world, making the ultimate play. And he does it in like, it's perfect to me. And like, I knew in my heart. That's like when that dude spoiled the end of this movie for me, which I told you about.
Yeah.
I knew it. Like, I was like, oh, I'm proven right. It's going to be Iron Man.
Yeah.
I felt vindicated because like, it should be Iron Man. I want it to break my heart.
It was just architected around him. Like, since he was the first movie, it just makes sense that he's the godfather of the whole thing.
And
so.
like the part in Infinity War where Thanos is like, he's like Stark and he's like, "You know me?" And he goes, "I do."
hope
Like,
they
we've both
remember
been
you.
cursed
Yeah.
with knowledge. And I was like, "I hope they remember you." And I was like, yes. Like, if anything, I wanted more of him and Thanos having like talkie time before they go on.
Well, I mean, it was clear that Thanos respected him the most of all the Avengers.
They're both kind of similar. They're both futurists, thinking of like thinking of tomorrow.
Yeah.
And stuff. And like one of them is an idiot, and one of them is like, he gets drunk sometimes and makes bad decisions, but like most of the time he's pretty good. Like, so like, I felt good that like he's so good in this movie, and like even like all the emotional moments, like with his kid and "I love you 3000," like all that stuff is
the part
great.
with his dad.
Yes, the
that
part
was
with
the
his
best.
dad was great.
Well, yeah,
all the
it
money in
was.
the world can't buy you a minute at a time or
We
whatever.
got so much closure out of that. This
Yeah.
made me. Oh, it just made me get all
why
the
I said
fuzzies.
it makes Civil War a better movie when he's
Yeah.
like that shield doesn't belong to you. You don't deserve it. My father made that shield. And I just go, oh, it wrecks me because like now like that you see how much his dad means to him after the fact.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, he's great in here. Out of all the people in this movie, even Josh Brolin, Robert Downey Jr. is the best.
Oh yeah. for
Whether
sure.
he's mad at somebody or he's making some more jokes, like he's still the best for me. He steals every movie he's in. He's the best part of.
He does, man.
Except for
He's-
maybe Spider-Man: Homecoming. He's good in that, but he didn't steal it.
No, he didn't exactly steal it because I mean, like, they couldn't let him steal that one. They could not.
But even then, like the Spider-Man stuff in this movie, like we wanted Mr. Stark. I was like, oh god, and his death is like, it's, you know what I love
That's
about
what
his,
stole it from me. Oh my god,
his
I
death
cried
is
so
like,
much.
his death is unceremonious, not like the funeral. His death, when he snaps and he lies back and like his arm is charred and there's blood coming out of his mouth and his nose. It's like his body's barely holding it together, and Pepper Potts just comes over and she's like, "You can rest.
You can rest now, Tony. It's done."
I think that's so good.
Yeah, they just let go. And he doesn't get a tearful goodbye. He doesn't get to stroke her face or hug Peter Parker. He just kind of like glazes over and he dies.
No, that's the perfect thing.
Exactly.
That's like his ultimate exhale,
Like,
because he's just been paranoid.
What do they want from what could Captain America do to equal that death? He gets, his shield is broken by Thanos and his arm's broken. Like, no, like this is the best.
Which
version.
actually, that scene, it just kind of like, it was an epic kind of foreshadowing moment. Yeah. Because that was the exact vision he got in Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Like we actually finally got to see it more. Like, yeah.
But he's great. I think Captain America turns into a good one. I like his little arc at the end.
Yeah.
Time travel doesn't make any sense. But I like that he gets his happy ending, for lack of a better word. You didn't like that that it's not Bucky that gets the shield, it's Sam.
Yeah, no, I did not like that.
I kind of like Sam getting it.
I mean, I've kind of thought about
Bucky's
it.
Bucky's been on ice for a long time. I don't feel like he wants to like, no, I gotta be. I think
thematically it makes a little bit more sense for Bucky to get it, because like they set up in like
in every comic rendition, Bucky's always been the first one, and Bucky's always the one to pass it to Sam.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess kind of as far as the MCU goes, it makes sense that they wouldn't give it to Bucky, because he's still got that Hydra brainwashing that someone could activate. And to give him the shield along with that, it's a very dangerous thing.
Is it? I mean, it's just.
I mean, he's still Bucky, but I mean,
I don't care, but you know.
Like it still would be kind of.
America didn't even want the shield for a little bit. Like he'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean that's true. But I mean, if Bucky did carry the shield, and then while he's carrying the shield, that symbolism of the, and then someone triggering that Hydra programming that's possibly there or not there, we don't know. It's not explained.
I've always seen it as like Sam was his homie, but Bucky was like his best friend. Yeah. So I just feel like it makes sense that he gets the shield.
I feel like Sam has earned the shield more than Bucky did.
Oh yeah,
for like the groundwork.
Oh yeah, as far as the MCU goes, he didn't earn it at all. It just, I kind of felt like that's how it should have been.
Yeah, Bucky's his better friend for sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about more performances that we like. I will go a little negative here. I really didn't like the way Josh Brolin is sort of reduced to a bully in this movie. He's sort of. I really hated the fact that he's so good in the last one, and this one he's so. Nothing.
Yeah, I
but
think,
I mean, also you got to think
Infinity War is his movie. Like he's essentially the main character of that movie, and Endgame is more. This is the Avengers. Like, and so he kind of takes a back seat to it. I mean, so you don't get all the Thanos that you got last time.
Well, I mean, we get that Thanos
he works as like a device to bring everybody together.
I guess that's my problem. Is he's sort of a plot device, and he's like. The version of him that we get, isn't the same version that like even in those trailers where he's like, you could not live with your own failures. Where did that bring you? Back to me. That line means nothing now because it's not the same Thanos that thwarted them. And also at the beginning
he's a more brutal Thanos.
Yeah. He's
a more pissed off because like I did this for you and look, and now you're going to do this to me.
But there's to me, there's no weight behind that because he doesn't know everything he had to sacrifice to get that soul stone. And like, I feel like the arc is squandered. And even if for the amount, I get it, like the screen time wise, we don't get as much screen time of Thanos because it's not his movie. But I feel like the amount of time we do get with Thanos, he's boring, and it's sort of like he's reduced to nothing more than like a bloodthirsty bully. Whereas before, I kind of like when you like that line when Doctor Strange says like, "Oh, like you're a maniac" or something. He goes, "I'm a survivor." You don't get those great character moments or like the strongest choices.
I almost feel like they're different characters because like
I mean they literally are.
Like Thanos
from Guardians.
Well, yeah, I think they're different like, people, but like you see like I feel like Thanos in Infinity War is like the wise sage on top of the mountain that like went through the trials and tribulations of getting the Infinity Stones.
Yeah. And
while it's like the ones like a few years back, like in the start of Guardians of the Galaxy, he hasn't got any of the stones yet. He hasn't had to do anything. Well, so he's just this angry monster.
But he's had some of them because this is 2014.
Well,
so
yeah, he had like
Avengers.
the Tesseract at one point,
and
like
and the Mind Stone, which he passed on to Loki.
Why would he trade that off? This is so stupid.
I know, that's a dumb plot hole.
That's such an idea. Dumb idea.
You have 2 stones. Just put them in the gauntlet. Go get the other ones. 2's enough to make you invincible. Like, go.
No, just go there
also,
yourself,
that's another plot hole at this movie is that at the beginning of the movie, he uses the stones to destroy the stones. Just destroy one of the stones. Yeah. Why do you have to destroy all of them? You did, like, you could have been prepared.
Well, he said like, it's just temptation. I guess he didn't want to.
He didn't want the temptation of any stone.
Anything. Like he had done his work. He doesn't need to do anything.
I feel like that's dumb.
It is dumb,
it's
but
really dumb. But I'd be like,
It's
Thor,
dumb, but I mean, it's also
you need
it's
to
still
be ready
sincere.
for when Thor cuts off your head. You need to have 5 stones there in your gauntlet so you can shoot him with a laser or something.
Yeah, but at that point, his work was done. He didn't give a shit if he died at that
he was a
point. He
martyr.
knew.
I would believe that, but his whole speech is like, I didn't want anyone to be able to undo what I've done. It's like, you can prevent that and be prepared. Like,
Yeah, but the thing was, like, they destroyed the Mind Stone.
Destroy the Time Stone, so you can't go back in time and do anything. Because he doesn't know about. I'm not saying you can't. So you can still have the plot of the movie, even if he's like, I destroyed the Time Stone, so no one can use this against me to go back in time and stop this from happening.
Yeah, but I mean, time is clearly not the only way to travel back through time.
He doesn't know that.
How do we know he doesn't know that though?
Because he doesn't know about Hank Pym and Ant-Man. And
he knew about Tony Stark.
Yeah, but with all the shit everywhere else in the universe, surely he had to know that obviously there's no way.
I guess my point is that Thanos is. Whereas before, like, I still wanted to, like, empathize with Thanos and being like, Thanos is fighting for a better tomorrow and you don't understand it yet. Instead, he's like, now I'm going to create a new universe out of this one and I'm going to kill everybody. And I was like, that's so much less interesting now. So, like, he's abandoned his own arc before he's even reached there. Like, he's how old? Older than a few hundred years at least. He's an alien or whatever. So he's had all this time to be like, this universe needs correction.
Well, yeah.
And now he's like, now this universe needs Control Alt Delete, and let's do another. Like, it's less interesting.
My devil's advocate is that, like, this is basically his philosophy breaking down in front of him, and so that's his like gut reaction to it. Like, fine, I'll take all my toys.
Yeah, I think his whole thought process was
because his entire arc was like in Infinity War was like, yeah, this is my philosophy. I always just kill half the people, and then this is the way it's supposed to be. And then when it doesn't work out for him at the beginning of Endgame, he's like, oh well, fine, I'll just kill everything. I don't care.
Yeah, and then just like clean slate.
You could
start
make
anew.
that. You could do that better. Is what I'm saying. Instead of just making him like a bloodthirsty bully, just make him like. Here's the thing. Like, I wanted to see him like lose his sanity in some way, where he's like, you guys, like, instead he's just like, he just gets like mad and like spiteful. But it's like, does Thanos strike you as the guy who makes a decision rashly? Like, he tortures Thor in front of Loki and he's so calm and collected, like he's gonna get mad that you try to stop him. Of course you try to stop him. He does it to Tony Stark. He's like, I respect you, Stark. I hope they remember you. Like, that I wanted it to be like his patience slowly wears thin. And then he's just like,
and you finally see him crack.
Yeah, I wanted to see that. I don't think he's bad. I just think he's boring.
It's almost like Darth Vader, though. Do you really want to see like a Darth Vader that's like panicked? That's not like the cool like just like the behind the masks type person.
I want him to make jokes about don't choke on your aspirations, Captain Nito, or whatever.
I don't want that.
Right.
See, that kind of translates to Thanos.
Let's talk about other performances. Black Widow and Hawkeye. Yeah, your name?
That's whatever.
I thought they're
Black Widow's always been like whatever, but
she's getting a movie. Do we care?
No,
I don't care either.
No,
I mean, I kind of do. I'm kind of interested to see it. I'm more interested to see exactly where they'll go with this. Like, if it's her Soviet Russia days where she was actually being trained to condition.
It has to be.
That's the only way it can be interesting. And I think they could take that to a really great place and make a really great movie out of it.
Hawkeye, I thought his anguish was good.
I thought the Ronin stuff in the beginning of the movie I didn't care about, but like when he's back together with the group, I always like him. Like I liked him a lot.
I did love it at first.
I like the scene.
But I kind of do think he just snapped back into the game way too easy, coming back from doing all his Ronin shit.
Yeah, I was very like when I see that scene at the beginning where he's running around and you just see the little leafy ashes of his kids and stuff, and he has no idea. Can you like the anguish and like the he's really good there, and I feel like the scene where he gets to kind of time travel test and almost sees his daughter again before he's sucked back in, little stuff like that makes it good. I do not feel that they have ever earned Black Widow's noble sacrifice. I didn't care about it,
but I also get why Black Widow
kind of.
I liked it. I like the fight to kill each other, but it's almost like that's the exact same scene I just saw in the last movie. Like it's whatever.
Down to the music.
Yeah,
but I kind of get that
in the last
scene
movie,
though,
that
because
scene wrecked me.
Like it's not like in Black Widow's character to do well, I wouldn't say it's not in her character, but yeah, God, what was the point I was going to make?
Well, I like.
Okay, I know why she forced herself to die rather than him, because she had a family to bring back. What does she have? She didn't
Well,
have
her
shit.
family is.
Yeah,
the
but they don't
Avengers.
make a point of her saying that. We can.
I mean, well, it's
that.
there. It's like it's in between the lines.
Yeah.
Well, it is in between the lines because the person that's still at Avengers Tower or whatever,
well.
like after like the time skip, is Black Widow. Like that, this is all that she has.
Yeah.
And so like her sacrificing herself, it makes sense thematically.
That's
speaking.
good. Yeah, I didn't think about that. This is the only thing she's ever been good at now.
Yeah, and it's like those are the people that actually accepted her for who she is, like for both her faults and like what she's good at. And so like the Avengers were her family, so she gave everything for them.
Yeah.
So that's what that was.
Winning me over, Ryan, baby. Yeah, so I think they're all right. They both have their moments. I personally, even though
I did want to see her in that big woman moment though, like when they're all together.
Yeah,
and it's sad that she's not there.
Speaking of the, there's little things in this movie that we're supposed to like. The directors have said in interviews we're supposed to pick up on that I totally didn't, and I think it's because they're kind of bullshitting a little bit. Like the Russo said, Captain America and Black Widow had like a romantic relationship in the period of. Exactly. of Civil War to Avengers Infinity War. So they were together. And like then when they meet Bruce again, it's supposed to be like a love triangle, star-crossed lovers thing.
No way.
Exactly. I didn't feel like I didn't pick up on any of this. Like
I didn't either.
Like him, first of all, that's like let's keep on performances for a while. Mark Ruffalo and his becoming the Hulk.
I didn't like it.
I didn't either. I felt it was squandered, and I didn't feel like. First of all,
I saw what they were going
like
for,
the Hulk
but
too much like the character of the Hulk.
Yeah,
like when they actually brought Hulk back, and it was like, oh, I hate stairs. Like this is great. I love him.
Right?
I miss him. And then it's just Mark Ruffalo as like nerd
pretending
Hulk
to
and
be
like,
angry.
Yeah.
Like when he's wrecking stuff in that 2012 thing, he's like, "Oh, you have to break some stuff." He's like, "Ugh," and I was like. Is this what we want?
Right? Like, oh man, like he
take
doesn't.
A picture with him.
Hulk
You want to
doesn't.
take a picture with. I thought that was funny in the context of like I've seen that before.
It's funny in a scene, but like, is that what you want from the Hulk?
No,
the Hulk got his ass thrashed by Thanos.
Yeah.
I wanted like the rematch. In the comic book,
Me
Thanos
too.
is quite afraid of the Hulk.
Right?
He steers clear of him. Not that he's not that he's afraid of him, but he's like, I don't want to go out of my way to do this fight unless I have to, because it's gonna take up my whole day. Like, so like I wanted that rematch, and I wanted like, Mark
too.
Ruffalo he's melded with the Hulk now, so we're gonna get like the bronze of the Hulk, the brains.
Like
of Ruffalo
I wanted
versus Thanos. I was like, hell yeah, and then like never happens.
Right? Like I wanted to see Ruffalo smash, but we never got that.
No, I wanted to see Hulk smash Thanos, like get his like because like.
But
that's his whole character. That's all he does. Is stuff.
Like I kind of wanted to see like him, like that alternate persona of him, because we all like it's very obvious he's got a personality disorder or whatever. Yeah, something like that, something technical. But so I wanted to see like that personality come out, because the transformation's there. So all he needs is just the Hulk needs to come.
Yeah, and I don't feel like they make a big deal like, where's the Hulk in Infinity War? And I was like, this is the reason why we don't see him. He doesn't want to come out. Like they don't show us that.
There's no resolution to the Hulk story.
Mark Ruffalo just tells us, oh, the Hulk didn't want to come out because he felt that I didn't like him, and I only used him when he was mad, when I really needed him. And like now it's
he didn't come out because he had his tail between his legs.
Yeah, or something.
He was scared.
That's better. Yes, the Hulk doesn't get beat up.
The first time in his life, the Hulk was scared, and that was like, I wanted to see the resolution of that so bad.
As a performance, did you like him in this movie? Even like there's parts of like at the beginning where I like angry Ruffalo. We don't get him enough. Like when they all attack Thanos and kill him at the beginning. You killed trillions, like that guy. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah,
I think it's one of the more forgettable parts of like Ruffalo's performance.
I would say it is almost the.
I'm like you remember scenes, but that doesn't translate to Ruffalo's performance. Like when the taco.
It doesn't mean that he's good.
Yeah. Like the taco is a cute moment.
That's another example of like, dude, I need this in the movie. Yeah. Like, oh, Ant-Man can't keep his tacos. I'm like, just can we cut that? Cut that and give me more.
I'm glad I saw it, but at the same time, it's just whatever.
Just include it as a deleted scene or some shit. Anyway, probably this one is probably more memorable because they give him more lines or whatever. But I don't like the character, and I really didn't like it at all. Thor. Like we have this opportunity.
I like the message that they're trying to like. the thought of like depression like bringing you down.
I love that. I
Yeah.
hate what it devolves into though, because like
Right?
I'd
Because-
rather have like banished, angry, brooding Thor, like I failed everyone, instead of like it's just like it felt. You know what it is? Like it's like at the beginning of this movie when Thor cuts off Thanos' head, he's he's bitter. Like I killed you, but I didn't win.
Yeah.
And like Thor is one of my favorite parts of Infinity War. And I felt like for 3 movies now, I've been waiting to like see I don't even like Thor that much, but I wanted to see like Thor, the God of Thunder. And when he comes back in Wakanda with him and Rocket and Groot, I was like, that's yes. And then like at the end of the movie or when he's going to Nidavellir or whatever to get Stormbreaker made, and he says, I'm over 1,500 years old. I've killed almost twice that many, and every one of them would rather have killed me, but they didn't. And he goes, Thanos is just the latest in a long line of bastards, and he'll be the latest to feel my vengeance because fate wills it so. And I'm like, yes. And then this movie, I'm like, no.
So that's like another thing where,
but
like,
in the beginning though,
wrong.
he like his brutalness towards him. And just he cut right through the bullshit and off with his fucking head.
Thanos is about to monologue, and then he's like, "Nope, I'm done with this." And then it's just like, "Oh,
I took his advice. I aimed for the head."
I've been drinking and hanging out with Taika Waititi's
playing Fortnite.
I thought they were all dead, by the way.
Yeah, me
like
too.
I thought Valkyrie was dead. I thought like
how did they get there?
I don't know.
Because he kills everyone on that ship.
Well, he
did mention that like half of them were dead.
I don't know.
We don't see them.
I mean, if Thor can survive that long in space, surely like the rest of the Asgardians can. Because I mean,
well, like he kills half of them on the ship, but the snap wouldn't that kill some of them too? Like, what are the odds that those characters are alive?
Who cares?
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care either. But
he made a point to like will like those people to be fine because he already killed half of them.
I guess.
Whatever.
But I was just like, this feels squandered. It feels like an opportunity. And there are parts.
But it doesn't feel like it feels like their numbers are kind of down to like 10% because it's a tiny little fishing village.
Yeah, I feel
like the resolution of Thor's plot was like him handing it off to Valkyrie was weak. But I also think like that he had some strong like with his mom was super strong.
Loved it.
Like it's just like the theme I love so much is that like depression can come like in so many ways. Like you
feel
like
helpless.
you can be like you're drunk and you're fat and you're laughing with your friends, but like on the inside you're just like at your lowest self.
Yeah,
you know what I want?
And I like the fact that they don't just make him like buff again like once he's like inspired to help again.
That's what you wanted.
That is what I want. I know it would have been cheap, but I like just him running around in that fat suit the whole time.
It looks silly for sure, but
yeah,
I'm
just like this looks so weird.
I like the meaning too. You could have done it without that. Like,
but like when he came back, when he grabbed Mjolnir, I wanted to see that first transformation from the first movie when he grabs it again. Like
that would be cool.
I disagree with it. I just say that.
I think that what I would have liked to have seen is like they go to see Thor and like they're all partying. And he's just like they go into like see Thor and they see Taika Korg playing video games or whatever, and they go like, "Where's Thor?" You see Thor just like bash out the door. He's got a big beard, long hair, kind of Aquamanish looking or whatever, and he just sees them. He doesn't say anything. He just grabs a bunch of beer from the fridge and just slams the door behind him. And he's been doing that for 5 years, just wallowing in his own pity. Yeah. I'd rather have that than you know what? It's the Marvel moment. It's you have this opportunity to do a thing that's real kind of serious and deep, and instead like you take the opportunity to make it funny. And I was like, some of it is funny, but I don't want it to be funny. I think
they like it isn't like him being fat like isn't necessarily just to be funny.
Sure.
It's also like kind of signaling to the audience like, you know, like depression and like all this other stuff, it can bring you down, and it's like a visual representation of him being at his lowest self, but he's bringing himself up gradually as like and like it doesn't just all go away in like one snap of your fingers.
Sure.
Like you can bring yourself up, and even though you're not quite at the peak of who you were, you're improving as a person.
Yeah.
And I also feel I like that theme of Thor.
I like
a lot.
the theme. I feel like they weren't thinking necessarily about that. I think when they were writing this, like, oh, this would be so funny if he's just fat and he's playing Xbox and Noob Master 969 or whatever.
I think it's a good message for kids.
like it's a funny moment, but like I would like, and after like all the stuff that he went through with like getting Stormbreaker and like his vengeance and like they say the name Thanos or whatever, like what I would have rather have seen is like he is that, but he's not fat and as comical. And then as soon as like Hulk says we can kill Thanos, you just see him like look up at him and he goes and he grabs Stormbreaker and be like, let's go. Like I'd rather have that.
The one thing I will say about like what they do to Thor.
I did like the scene with his mom.
Yeah.
And I did like I like when he fights at the end. I did find it to be like he's scrappier in a way and like stuff. I just felt that was just another on a list of like these squandered opportunities that just take things away from me.
The one thing I did kind of like put my nose up at is like the scene where like Hulk is like, well, I have to do with the one that snaps the finger because it will literally kill you. One, in the literal last movie, like Thor's like holding a star together, like with his bare hands, and then later on in the movie, Tony Stark does it, and he doesn't immediately die.
He makes a joke about like, oh, can I wield such a weapon? Like, no, your minds would crumble away as you slip slowly into madness. Like, I was like, yeah, like
he literally holds a star together. Like, what do you mean?
Right.
And also, they kind of undercut that with the fact that Iron Man can. Yeah. Well, he doesn't live through it though, I guess.
But he doesn't die immediately either.
Yeah, so I feel like.
But he also, I think he doesn't die because like because it of like the suit he was like. I don't know. I just want to say something about the suit and how they're not exactly kind of touching him. So all that radiation and power, it's more coursing through the suit than him.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't instantly kill him.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like if he had designed the suit right, I think he could have made a suit to survive.
Yeah. Use the Hulkbuster. It'll be fine. Use the Hulkbuster suit. Where's that at? But,
right? Like just he could have put a suit inside another suit again, and that might work. I wonder.
But that box instead of another box.
Yeah. I smash it with my hand. I feel like Thor is like there are moments that I like him better than Hulk in this movie.
Yeah, I do too.
I feel like the moments it's a movie with a lot of people in it. Not everyone's going to get their moment. Just like in Infinity War, I was like, Captain America's boring in Infinity War.
I like Rocket's little moments. Who he has been to space.
Don't throw up on my ship. That's pretty good. I thought Nebula was really good here.
Oh, yeah. Best performance from Nebula so far, I think.
Yeah. And I even like the stuff with, I even like the way this movie opens. It opens with, it opens like with Hawkeye, but then it goes to space.
And they're playing the finger football.
Yeah, but
it's so good.
The mixture of like well-placed humor, but also like I'm slowly dying in space.
Yeah.
I'm so scared. Like it's that and like moments where Nebula gives him the food because she's like kind of machine, so she can take it, and they're trying to rig the ship to survive a little longer.
Yeah, I like how she's actually kind of putting effort into being a real person.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Like, and then it kind of comes around full circle where she's got to go back in time and then turn Gamora to the good.
And you
part.
actually like see how far she's come when she sees like old Nebula, and she's just like a mindless monster that just wants to kill everything.
Yeah,
and she
has to kill herself.
I have values now,
right?
I have things to live for.
I don't want to get too much into the political nonsense because I don't care. There's a lot of idiots online who are like, Brie Larson sucks because she's an SJW. And there's a bunch of like people who are like, Brie Larson sucks because she's a woman. Like, I'm blue. But like, I personally did not feel we got enough Captain Marvel in this movie.
I feel we didn't either. And that's what I hate about how the politicalness affects that too.
I will say that you didn't get enough Captain Marvel in the same way you didn't get enough Black Panther or Spider-Man or like any of the new guard.
Well, there's reasons for that. They didn't exist at the moment.
I feel like
they're dead, but they're also like the new characters. And
I feel like I didn't like Captain Marvel as a movie, but I gave it a lot of slack. Like all those trailers were really boring to me, but a lot of the internet was getting on their like anti-SJW like high horse, being like, and I was honestly like, I want to like this movie. I want to like Captain Marvel. I
was like that too.
I don't know anything about this character. It had kind of Man of Steel-y vibes with flashbacks, which I'm all about the flashbacks.
Yeah. And the visuals I thought were great. It just proves to me they can actually make a Super Saiyan movie.
Yeah. So when I saw the movie, I was like, you know what? I don't like this movie, but I would love to see her go up against Thanos, and I want to see her under the direction of a better pair of directors.
She's such a win button in game. And I don't like that. I don't like win buttons.
She's a little too powerful. Thanos kind of
he kind of used his wits.
I do like that he got like a good hit on her.
Dog punched her in the face, and she was out cold. Like we didn't see her for the rest of the movie. She was
I would have liked to it's just like it felt like they really didn't know what to do with her. And it's you know what it is? It's the Superman thing. Like, oh, we don't know what to do with Superman. If he shows up and beats up everybody,
I
we don't know
think
what to do.
was
like,
literally the politics and how she could not get along with the rest of the cast. Because if you see her in interviews,
you say that, but they shot this movie years ago. Like this.
Yeah, but
the
animosity was there when they were filming. Like you remember the line when Thor grabs Stormbreaker, like while they're just staring each other down, he's like, "I like her." That's just the most unsincere moment of the movie. Like he was struggling to actually be sincere about that because Chris Hemsworth can't stand her. You can
the
tell.
chuckle that they did in like the trailer, where like I like this one, and then you hear him like chuckle. That's not in the actual movie.
Yeah, he's just sitting there like, "I like her."
My point is like we have that 5-year time jump, which I like, by the way. I like that we have to sit. The characters have to sit with him.
How's that going to work with like the new Spider-Man movie? Do like half of the kids just have to go to school some more?
Right?
That's a great point. They're all so much older now.
Yeah, like who's here, who's not? Like all these kids were just gone by the snap. Like I thought it was supposed to.
Or are they even in school when they like? Or are they just going on
who
vacation?
Changes the tires on the Batmobile? It doesn't matter. But yeah, I felt that like that 5-year time jump was like. I feel like once they found a way to like go time travel, the first person you'd call would be like would be her and be like, we have a chance to get all this back.
Yeah.
What's the hardest place we have to send someone to? Vormir? Is Vormir or wherever? Like, pick the toughest place and send the baddest bitch to get it. Like that's what you would do. And I just felt like. She comes back at the end and it's kind of cool. She crashes through the ship. Cool moment. I like her tangle with Thanos. Maybe she's a little overpowered, but I
feel like Nick Fury would have pressed that button a lot of different times during the MCU's.
Maybe. She said only for emergencies. And I was like, well, isn't
a whole bunch of aliens invading New York is kind of an emergency.
Like, or Age of Ultron. That's definitely
like,
an emergency.
This kind of makes Avengers kind of worse because like there's like this whole meeting is like we're gonna nuke the city, and Nick Fury is like, well, I don't really have any better idea. Press that button, man. She's gonna destroy everybody.
Hold on.
They're like, hold on, I do have a Captain Marvel button. That seems like a pretty viable nuclear deterrent.
Yeah, but then that would take away Tony's fucking into the wormhole thing.
Yeah, it would.
That's what the problem is.
Ultron happens. I don't know. I got ships that can help.
Yeah, my point is like
Well, I think I've got to hold a helicarrier back in the barn.
It felt like she's a glorified stunt woman. It felt like you could have a stunt woman do most of her stuff except for when there's a close up and it would be fine. And I just feel like if that's the case, like just don't have her in the movie or something. Like just felt like I felt kind of bad for Brie Larson, to be honest with you. It was like, I know, she's a millionaire actress. She'll be fine. But like,
well, Red Letter Media made this point, and it was actually how I experienced it too. I watched this movie not having. Well, I'd seen her in like 21 Jump Street, and I'd seen her in like Scott Pilgrim versus the World and stuff. So I don't know how she is, but then
she's in that movie Don John with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That's right. I don't even remember her character in that
because she doesn't speak until one moment she talks to Joseph.
I like that movie, by the way.
It's a great movie. There's a part she's on her phone the entire time, bored of everyone, and then there's a moment where someone said something mean to her brother.
Oh, and she actually says something.
Up and it's really
I remember that now. Okay, but like. I remember her performance. Like I watched her performance in Captain Marvel, and I remember like I liked like her character. But then I watched her interview, like an interview. I was like, oh, it's the same person. Like it kind of takes away from the performance a little bit.
Yeah,
like she's like she plays like this bratty like kind of, and like I like it, and but then like she does like this like questions interview where you peel away like does Brie Larson or whatever, and then she's like answering it like so snarky and weird and like just like very like unfriendly type of thing. I was like, oh, she's the same person.
Yeah,
that kind of makes me appreciate it a little bit less.
Yeah,
but
fair enough. I do like the fight she has with Thanos, and also I'll give credit to the fact that like. They do a pretty good. I think like if like you took the main 6 Avengers and put them up against like the Justice League would probably murder them.
Oh yeah.
But I think that they do a good job of this universe.
Superman would murder them.
Yeah. Because
half of them actually don't have powers.
But they do a good job at like scaling everyone's powers back to where the scale feels right.
Yeah.
Like Thanos, like. One, I loved the Trinity. I say that the Thor, Iron Man, and Cap versus Thanos was really great.
So good.
I love the fact that Thanos is scrappier, like I said, and Thor is scrappier, but like Thanos is like you can throw a lot at that dude, and he can kind of take it.
He just takes it.
And go with it. I like that. I like the little spinny blade he has. There's a part where he's punching Captain America. I was like, oh man, maybe he will kill Captain America. Oh no. But I was like, it's fine. But like, the part where he breaks his shield and he just keeps hitting him. And I was like, come on, Cap, I believe in you. We've been talking for a while, so I just want to like just have us talk about shit that we like or don't like. Thor wielding Mjolnir, Captain America wielding Mjolnir, pretty cool.
Absolute highlight of the movie. For me.
It was.
Well, I'll tell you,
Thor's little. I knew it.
Which kind of makes me think: when did he become worthy? Was it at that moment?
In Age of Ultron, we see him wiggle it.
And then,
yeah. So I'm kind of thinking, did he just choose not to pick it up just to save Thor's pride?
I'm gonna say it's after Infinity War. I think he's still like after Civil War. There's some conflict, some selfishness. Can he make the right choices for the whatever?
I still stand by that he was making the right choices.
Maybe he was making the right choices, but it is like it is a selfish choice. It's based on his.
But
maybe it was those choices
Captain America
he made
in the context of that universe.
Yeah,
like really? if it's in the real world and there's like superheroes like actually saying I want to do whatever I want, I'm like fuck no, man. But like in the context of aliens invading like at any given moment. Are you really gonna want to go to like some meeting first? Like,
but is that the issue?
Yes, that's the issue.
It is the issue.
The issue in the movie is the fact that Captain America says we have to be responsible for our actions. This paper just shifts the blame. When does Captain America take responsibility for what the Avengers do in Civil War? They do get those people killed.
He does take. He says, "Okay, we have all these problems and like these things happen.
But what does he do?
But if we weren't there, nothing. Like it would have been way worse. That's his whole point.
But that's not a good reason. That's a cop out. Like he doesn't even. He won't even go to the Vienna and look at the guy from King T'Chaka from Wakanda. Like I feel like Captain America has all these principles, but he won't put them under the magnifying glass and justify them. I would rather have Captain America said something along the lines of, you know, if these people tell us where we can and can't go and where we can and can't do superhero stuff, how long before they tell us who is and isn't our supervillains or who is or isn't our enemies or our friends? You know, when he says, you know, our hands aren't perfect, but the safest hands are still our own. I want to believe him, but he doesn't justify his actions. He just has principles that are unearned.
He says them in the movie. He's like
he says them, but does he earn them? Is my point.
Yes.
Like Tony Stark,
He's Captain America.
Tony Stark has a reason for everything he said.
Well, Tony Stark believes what he believes because he was the one that fucked up, and he was like, "Oh, I messed up. Now everybody needs to pay for it." I'm like, no, it should be you.
But I mean, the fuck up was as a group. I mean, they are a team.
Yeah.
So I mean. They have to take it in all as like, this is on us.
Even like it's like what the dude says is like, well, where's Thor at? Where's Thor and the Hulk at? He's like, oh, we don't know. I was like, really? You can just not know where 2 megaton nukes are at, and it's fine with you? Like if that happened to me, I'd be fired from my job or sent in prison or whatever. I was like, there's problems with the Avengers, and I feel like Tony Stark like that. First of all, I love that scene where the lady is waiting for him by the elevator, and she just puts the picture of her dead son and he's like, you don't fight for us, you fight for yourself, and like, who's going to avenge my son? He's dead and I blame you. And I was like,
Captain American's point is there, like, if they weren't
someone out there believes that about Captain America now because that building killed those Nigerians or whatever.
Yeah. And then that's all well and good, but like,
and look,
Ultron I love killed everyone.
I love Man of Steel. Like I don't care about destruction in superhero movies, but if we're going to have the conversation about it, I think Captain America's reasons, like they're not good ones. Like his reasoning being like, I like Bucky and he's my friend and he didn't do this. That's a better reason than like the safest hands are still our own. What does that mean?
But it's true. It's so true.
But he doesn't make that argument. Like you make it for him in the audience. But like,
well, I mean, he actually kind of does make that argument. He makes it with Bucky because Bucky's the one who's like
he's talking to Wanda.
Because
how so?
Like, isn't he like in that room and he's just like, man, you killed those people, but it was like in the interest of like protecting everyone. And like sometimes everyone doesn't make it out, but we're doing this so at least some people can.
That's fine, but you're not holding yourself accountable then. My point is if this is about accountability or whatever, superheroes, and people don't make it out of their fuck up, and he doesn't do anything to make that right with the public. He doesn't do a press conference. He doesn't shake anybody's hands. He doesn't
kiss anyone's baby.
He doesn't like, I'm not going to sign this paper. And I was like, can I get like more of a reason? Can we get like a bigger discussion about this? And that's why like here's the thing is like, I want to agree with you, Ryan. This is why I say Tony steals the movie. Cause when Tony sits down in that thing in Germany and he slides the pens across and he goes, I was like, oh, these are FDR's pens, and he goes, they were, it's a peace offering. And some would say they brought us closer to war, is what Captain America says, or whatever. Yeah. And they sit there and they say, and he goes, I want to punch you in your perfect teeth, like, but I don't want you gone. And he goes, we need you. You're better at keeping these people together than I am, or whatever. And he's like, please sign so your friend Bucky doesn't go to a Sokovian prison. He goes to an American psych ward where he can get the help he needs. Like, Tony makes the effort. He makes the good faith effort. Cap kind of just stands resolute. And while there is honor in that, he doesn't ever make the fuck up right. Even if the fuck up isn't entirely his fault. Dude says Bucky and he freezes. It's like their Martha moment or whatever.
Tony's trying to make it right by getting his way, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying Tony's 100% right either. My point is that neither of them are 100% right. And I think that's part of it. And when Tony Stark says well, this is a place for criminals, Hawkeye. Like, you don't believe. It's like, well, you knew they put us somewhere, didn't you? Like, yeah, he's as guilty of his ignorance as Cap is. My point is, Captain America, I don't think becomes worthy till that moment of Endgame where he goes, oh shit. Like, first of all, like, between him and Iron Man, he's probably like the least equipped to fight Thanos because he just has the shield.
Yeah.
So he's like, I have to do something or everyone is going to die again. And that's like, it's true selflessness. So he reaches out and he grabs Mjolnir. And I was like, that's where I think he becomes worthy. Because if it's not in Age of Ultron, it definitely can't be Civil War. And he's gone after Civil War till Infinity War.
When I saw that scene for the first time, I was deathly sick when I watched the movie.
Yeah,
I didn't have a voice at all. And when Cap picks up the shield, I like mustered everything I could just to get that tight.
Did it bother you with the shield being broken and then fixed again? Was it fixed again, or did they just find a new one? Can't remember.
No, that was the shield from like his old. He could just go back and get the shield from his old time now. Like when he went back in time, he was like, "Oh,
yeah, that's right.
You can just hand you the shield again."
Yeah.
I mean, he's also very good friends with the Wakandians. So I mean, they've got all the
just
vibranium
make him
in the
a
world.
replica
just,
one.
Will you make me another?
I liked the on your left.
I mean, T'Challa would have been like, yeah, sure, because I mean,
nice
he was the one who was
right
first. Someone get this man a shield.
I like the. I mean, the action at the end is pretty great. I did feel like some of it is like to the point of absurdity. Like Giant Man, when Giant Man comes in and like knocks down that big snake, I was like,
"Oh, I liked it."
It's good, but I'm like, he feels really squandered in this fight. Squash Thanos. I was like, "What are you doing? Stop him! Like, he can't keep up with you." So like, it felt like I liked seeing all the superheroes. I felt this is gonna feel like a nitpick, Ryan. So if you don't like it, just tell me. I didn't feel like the muster of the hero shot. Like I wanted the. Like,
I did. I
like like when we see the Avengers for the first time. There's the big like Michael Bay circle shot.
You're never gonna get that again though.
But really, you don't think like we could have like a big lineup shot where like it pans across and we see
it's like 1,000 people.
I'll sit there for the 12 minutes it takes to pan.
The one nitpick I had with like that definitive shot where like I want him to like triumphantly say like Avengers assemble and then he says assemble.
It's
like what? Like I can't hear that. Like.
Yeah,
but it still made me tear up, and like that like the music
like,
was there, and like the
Avengers assemble. You hear Spider-Man be like, "What did he say?" But yeah, so
like the Avengers, that like perfect. But like I like that they saved that moment for then, though.
Yeah, I wanted like a circle-y shot. I just wanted like a visual thing.
Right, just so many great stuff in that last few minutes.
Let it be that thing.
And it was all wrapped up with the greatest just phrase that he always ends practically every movie he's been in with, "I am Iron Man."
Yeah, I felt it coming. Like I'm sure you felt it coming. Like when he was like, "I am inevitable," and then he's just like, he's gonna say, "I am Iron Man."
First of all, I knew that was coming because Dick Wad ruined it for me. But like as soon as I saw like he was about to do the snap, I was like, "Oh, the stones aren't on his hands anymore." And I was like, "It's gonna be Iron Man."
I almost made like an out of context meme for like out of context spoilers, and it's a picture of the Disney Robin Hood of like him kissing the finger of the Prince John, because that's what happens.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. Like the last time he fights Thanos, Iron Man gives it everything he's got.
Yeah,
and I love that. Like that's a part when he gets mad at Captain America earlier in the movie, where he's kind of like, he has like a panic attack or something. It's like really unhinged. And he's like, I fought him. I gave him everything he had. He threw a planet at me or whatever. And like, it hurt a lot. And I gave it everything and we lost together. And like, I like that this time Tony like takes the lumps. Like when he fights him and he gets up close and personal, Thanos rocks him. He's like, I'm not trying to get my pride here. I'm trying to get those rocks off.
Yeah.
And he does that. And I thought that was pretty good. Did you find the snap happening again was kind of underwhelming?
No.
Like it just kind of really. I felt like they get the rocks, the Hulk snaps it, and like everything's fine. Everything goes off without a hitch. Now, what I would rather have seen is like you save the snap for Thanos. Like they're cobbling the stones together. Like Thanos comes early or whatever, blows up the thing.
So you mean Hulk snap is like
Yeah, this because this way you have a reason for like why the Hulk can't fight Thanos or something. Is like Thanos is trying to get to the stones as the Hulk is putting them in the thing and trying to do the snap. And then as that happens, Thanos is like,
no,
"Fuck
I
you
think
guys,
it's
do
done
it again."
perfectly
Like,
because it's done early enough to where like the thing happens and it's successful, but then you kind of forget that the characters come back. So when you hear the Steve, can you hear me? And you're like, oh my God, that's right, they're back.
But you see, I didn't forget that because I was like, where is everyone? Where's Black Panther?
Right.
I thought it was perfect in that respect.
Because some of them are off Earth, but some of them were like, they're not that far away. Like where they're fighting at the Avengers
Oh,
headquarters.
the
like
one thing I had a question though when everyone came back is when Hawkeye's his wife calls him on his cell phone.
Mhm.
I'm sitting here thinking they've been gone 5 years. Have you been paying that bill this whole time?
That's a good point. Oh my God.
Like,
Does Verizon care anymore? Half their people.
Let's
just,
talk about.
oh well,
of
that's
business.
actually a good point. Verizon just might have never shut it off because like, well, that guy's just doesn't exist anymore, so that's not happening.
Yeah.
He's not coming in.
Let's talk about some of the time travel-y stuff. I felt like
Did you like your trip down memory lane?
some of it's good, some of it's fine.
What-
The Guardians one was funny where he's like, oh, so he's an idiot. You see Peter Quill mouthing the words, but it's his voice or whatever.
I like Steve getting in the elevator, like in Winter Soldier.
That was great.
That was
He goes,
yeah.
Hail Hydra. I was
Yeah.
like, oh.
And I think it's kind of like a callback to when everyone got pissed like a
They
couple
even
years
brought
ago
back,
about the
like,
comic book.
They even
Yeah,
brought back.
That's
Black
exactly what it
Ball-
was.
Yeah, they even brought back the black ball dude from Winter Soldier, like characters that you have. Like Crossbones is there,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
all these characters that I forgot. Like Robert Redford is in the movie.
I liked that he was in the movie.
No, I do too. I was like, that's
Right.
just like it's nice detail.
And it kind of gives you some context of like, you know, that after that famous scene when they're all just staring down at Loki and he's just like, it's all the same to you. I'll have that drink now. We get to see what happens after that.
next. It's
Like
so
all
great.
the awkward
I
moments
like
afterwards.
the Rogers. That outfit did your ass no favors or whatever. It was pretty good.
America's ass.
Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Captain, that you have a great ass in that. That is America's ass.
As far as I'm
I like
concerned.
how he's just like a Cap fanboy.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It must be really frustrating for Iron Man just to be like, God, I do so much work for these fuckers. And they're just like this.
And then Cap is just the face of the.
handsome son of a bitch. I felt like they do a lot of work telling me like this is not how time travel works. Alternate dimensions aren't a thing or whatever. And then the ancient one literally goes, when you do something, you create a new universe. Like, didn't we just establish that's not how it works? We spent Tony Stark lectured us about he turned into a baby, didn't he, or whatever. Like, so that bothered me. I feel like it felt like you're writing a plot hole into your movie.
No. I like how they handled time travel in this one because it's different and it's kind of how people
like-
think time travel, how time would work.
It felt like
multiverse theory, kind of.
But why have that scene? That's my point. It's like, why not just be like, yeah, that's how time would work. Yes, that.
Well, because they know that people are going to it's kind of self-referential in the fact that they know people like us are going to complain about it later on.
So then don't.
So
do it.
this is their
the thing, though. Here's the
justification
thing.
for like we know that this is what you guys think.
I also like-
this is how it works.
I like.
Well, they've clearly gone by two different rules because, okay, Nebula kills herself, but she does not disappear. She's still here. But at the end, Cap is here.
It's not Looper rules where like you kill young Gordon Levitt and Bruce Willis dies or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, shouldn't there be like two Steves?
But then how? Yeah, then how?
Yes,
is there,
that means there was a second Steve Roger the entire time in this universe.
Like there's
Yeah.
one frozen while like a future Steve comes back and like
Yeah.
you know, that one's still trapped in the ice.
So
We could
that
get him
means he
out.
could theoretically thaw old Captain America out whenever he wanted to.
Yeah.
But he's like, well, then I wouldn't be able to grow old with Peggy. It adds. That's what I'm saying. You're adding a plot hole to your movie.
Yeah,
I
they,
still
they
like
could
it.
not.
Just all they had to say is like, this is not how time
Just don't
travel
think
works.
about it too hard. Just
Well, but that's my thing. Is like they're making us think about it too hard.
Yeah,
because Don Cheadle says, "Wait, do you mean Back to the Future and Terminator? It's all bullshit or whatever." And like, yeah, it's wrong.
And then
I'm like,
Cap
okay,
is just
that's
like,
great.
oh no, Back to the Future. I'm gonna do the Back to the Future thing. Like, and
Yeah.
but Nebula, if we were going by Back to the Future rules, no, she should just
She would die. None of it makes sense.
yeah.
Again, it's time travel, and like I said, whenever whenever it's a superhero movie or a time travel movie, there's certain things that I just say it doesn't matter. This is kind of one of them, but it just felt like they went out of like that Ancient One speech, who I liked, by the way. I liked that she came back, and I liked that she was like, oh, Stephen Strange won't have the stone for 5 years or whatever. I like the fact that she's used the time stone and she's fucked around with time, which shows that she's a hypocrite, number one. And
well, that was already established.
That was the main problem in the first one. That they point out she's a hypocrite.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just felt like they went out of their way to write a plot hole into the movie in that way.
But I mean, then again, you could also think about it, because when they like went to the back in time, they had those little things to actually return to that point or whatever. So I kind of have a theory that he might have just held on to that until he grew old and waited till that moment, and then instead of using it to time travel, just crossed into that reality that he came from in the first place.
Maybe. So like you.
So that would
how old would Captain America be by?
He's old.
He would be older.
He was in World War II.
I mean, if you think about it chronologically, he'd be about 228.
Yeah, but he would be older. So I feel like he probably like grew old with Peggy Carter till the 70s or 80s, and they both passed away, or she passed away.
Well, she passed away in like what, Civil War?
But that's different. It's different.
Civil War.
It's different Peggy Carter or whatever.
No, that's not that. No, that was the Peggy Carter.
Well, we don't know that Peggy Carter died at the same time though, because he's living with her now, and maybe she held on for longer, or she died. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It adds extra complication to it. But my point is, like, he probably grew old with her, and then when she passed away, he was like, all right, now, and he would time travel to that moment or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's talk about like our favorite like moments of the time travel-y stuff. We go back to Thor: The Dark World. That might have been my favorite.
No, just him talking to his mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like that a lot.
I mean, I liked it, but at the same time, I felt
I also
they
like
could
that
have done
Loki
a better.
does another Captain America like
talk.
You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
He does another Captain America where he makes fun of Steve or whatever. That's good.
My favorite was when after they fucked up and when Loki just finds just sees the Tesseract, it just gets kicked right in front of him. He's just like, mine.
Yeah, and he's going to get his own show, probably based off of that thing. So,
no, he is. Like that's already been confirmed. That is going to be pilot. Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
It's a toss up between Tony talking to his dad.
Oh, I forgot all about that.
Yeah,
I really like that where they go back
and he just gets so much closure off of that. Like he tells him that Howard doesn't know who he is, but
at first I thought it was going to go bad.
He's like telling him like, thank you for your service, or like, and then he's telling him about his kid and like being
and it was at that moment he's just like, that kid's not even here yet, but I already know I would do anything in the world for him.
Yeah.
And it was right there. He's like, that was the.
It makes
I love
Civil
you.
War a better movie. It makes
does.
the drop the shield moment more heart wrenching. Kind of for both.
I like
of
the
them.
part in the early part of Civil War when like you kind of see like when there's
the
like
hologram.
It's a hologram, yeah.
Yep.
When he never gets to say
when he
goodbye.
says like, I never got to say goodbye. I never got to process my grief. I
love the prank they pull on Hank Pym. That was awesome. It's like, sir, you need to come up to the front. I've got something. It's glowing. It's like it's green and it's glowing real bad. I'm kind of starting to feel funny. Like, oh god, you didn't know? Did you touch it?
That's pretty good. What else is? Any other bad stuff that we didn't like?
When Cap fights Cap.
You didn't like that?
Oh, I thought it was fine.
Yeah, me too.
It's funny.
The America's ass part is funny.
I thought
I could do this all. Yeah, I know.
I kind of didn't like how he had to diffuse him, because like that would fuck him up until he actually figured it out.
Oh, when Ant-Man gets in his thing?
No, when to diffuse the fight with himself, he's like, Bucky's alive.
Well, now that universe knows that.
Yeah, now he knows
Bucky's
that. He can't unknow that now.
It's another plot hole they just add into. Why do they
cares about that universe?
Yeah,
the main one's fine. Like, who cares what the collateral damage that happens?
This is the guy who's worthy of Thor's hammer. See, you're not making a strong argument for yourself. Anyway,
But the fight with himself was actually pretty awesome. I love that, like the whole kind of mirror imaging thing.
Apparently, originally Thor was supposed to fight himself. Was the rumor? I saw that in an article today.
That would have been cool.
Funny Thor faces stoic Thor.
Yeah,
but what do you think about?
Also, it couldn't have been because like the way it happened, because like they were just dressed close enough alike that.
I think they do.
Because if Fat Thor came in, they couldn't have confused him. Be like, oh, I found Loki. He's pulling a trick.
I feel like
Loki would be regular Thor. He wouldn't.
Yeah,
be fat
he
Thor.
wouldn't be
This
fat
is a
Thor.
homeless man or
I
something.
feel like everybody who's voiced it, like they want to do something else, is out, and I feel like Chris Hemsworth would keep doing this if he's able to.
I feel like
they're going to commit.
Yeah,
to it.
like he's part of the Guardians now at the end, and like I thought that scene was very funny. Like everyone knows who's in charge. He's like, you, of course, of course. Oh, careful.
Oh God,
do what you can. Careful. He's like, everyone knows who's in charge. He's like, oh no, you, of course. Of course. Like that little pause cracked me up. Yeah, I just want to know what's gonna go on. Like they have a God of Thunder with them now, and they're all back to normal, except for they're all there. Groot's there, Drax is there,
and
Gamora wasn't there.
Well, that's going to be the plot of the next one.
Gamora. She doesn't love Peter anymore, so he has to earn her love back. He doesn't deserve a piece of shit.
Well, that's gonna be awkward because like the second time around, he's gonna fuck it up.
I'm excited.
It
makes me excited that that's the plot, that they're going to go after Gamora and try and get her back.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too, but I was just like Thor is part of the Guardians now. That's going to make like the next villain's got to be like a big in the next.
Well, it kind of goes off like a little comic short, the Asgardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. I'd watch that.
That's pretty much what it's going to be.
Yeah. I
want to see Beta Ray Bill. They
Right,
had his face
established.
on Ragnarok.
Yeah, that is established him.
That's the horse guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Can wield the hammer.
What's like some more bad things, and then we're gonna wrap it up.
Bad things.
Things that you didn't like. People are complaining that this movie is either not subservient enough to LGBTQ people, or is too over the top with social justice-y movement.
I feel like they hit that.
I think they did a fair justice to it. I think they did just a fine job because at the end of the day, they didn't have to do that at all.
But the Joe Russo scene was.
Yeah, that was the thing that everyone's all upset about.
Oh yeah,
he has a cameo where he's.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
and they just throw in that he's gay.
Yeah,
I thought it was fine. I mean, like,
it was fine. Not only that, think of the era that
Captain America was like, "Ugh, get away from me,"
right? Because he came from that era that it was just unacceptable. But he was being progressive about it. He didn't care.
Yeah, I feel like people are really like some people out there are really like vibing against the women scene. I
liked it.
I didn't hate it.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah. I thought Pepper Potts having an Iron Man-y suit felt a little bit like, I don't know.
It was established.
It was established. She is established as Rescue in the comics.
The reason I like it is because it gives her a chance to like say that last thing to Tony, like you can rest. I like
and
that.
it gets her to that scene, and
not only that, but that whole like scene in itself was just a nod to like the female Avenger comic that they did. I can't remember exactly what they were called, but
I love that people are really up in arms that Okoye wasn't on the poster for this, and she's barely in the movie. And then like during the big woman power scene where all these cool women superheroes are there, there's her with her spear. Like, yeah, I get it, but like she's the woman of color. But I'm just like,
yeah, but she's got a badass spear.
It's not as impressive as Lady Iron Man or the Wasp. Or
dude,
like Elizabeth.
It's an ancient spear that shoots laser beams. There's no way it's not cool.
Yeah,
and it's cultured.
I do like
this is a straight white male.
I like that their job is to like get Peter, like to protect Peter Parker or whatever.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I like seeing him again. I like that when Tony sees him, he doesn't know what to do, so he just gives him a big hug. And he's like, "Oh, hugs, hug time."
Oh, so warm.
It is.
See that adds to like Tony's character, because like I like Tony's apprehension of like going back into it. And like he has like these sure things, like he has Pepper and he has his daughter now, but like there's just that thing at the back of his mind. It's like, man,
that son I never
lost
had moment.
Peter. Like I lost like basically my son out
baby
there.
boy.
Yeah. So like.
And then he finally gives him that hug, which is also kind of a callback, if you remember, to Spider-Man: Homecoming when he thinks he's going in for the hug when he's just getting the car door for them. He's like, yeah.
I totally forgot about. I didn't make that connection till just now. I like it so much more now.
It's great.
I love it.
I like that.
Homecoming has really shot up as like one of the
finally.
best MCU movies for me, at least.
It definitely feels like. Again, I feel like this is. I feel like. Everything they've done, I don't know if they knew when they knew they were going to kill Robert Downey Jr. It wouldn't surprise me if he was like, I've done enough of these. I'm ready to hang it up or whatever.
I think they had this plan since they announced Phase 3. Like, Like
Definitely,
Phase 3,
definitely
yes.
since like the end of Civil War. I bet it was locked up.
Well, I mean, Civil War kicked off Phase 3, so
I mean, there was like around like
Or did
the
it?
start of Phase 2, like there was like this whole debacle about giving Robert Downey Jr. more money to renew his contract. So that like getting to this point,
yeah, he
was-
never actually renewed it. I don't
Yeah.
think he just kept on doing
But my
it.
point is like little things they would say in some of these movies, like in Iron Man 3, he's like, I have to find a way to protect the one thing that I can't afford to lose or whatever. He's talking about Pepper. And like now he has, like you said, he has Pepper, he has this little girl, and like, but there's just that part of him as Tony Stark where he's like, it's his best redeeming quality. It's like, it's the part in Iron Man where he's watching the news footage of Golmira or whatever, and he's tightening his repulsor ray with his little thing, and he's just sitting there stewing, getting mad that his weapons are killing people.
It's kind of like the
He
original.
can't stand by.
It's kind of like the original like Spider-Man, like the great power comes great responsibility thing, which is why I kind of love that he's kind of like the dad to this new Peter Parker, because it's kind of like he can't just stand by while like there's something he can do to help, and like.
And it makes Peter's death, like when in the little speech he gives to him, like when Peter's like, "You're not even here right now," and he comes out of the suit, and you're like, "What was that?" And, he's like, and then he's like, if someone could have really gotten hurt here, and like if you got hurt, I feel like that's on me. And then when he slips
it actually
away in
happens.
Infinity War, it rips your heart out.
Yeah.
Man. It's horrible. That's why
Did anyone else catch the ironicness of the Big Lebowski reference in the movie?
Loved it.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
loved it. It's so funny.
Yeah, because it was like, you realize the Big Lebowski was Obadiah Stane.
yes, like
Yeah, that's right. Jeff Bridges was in the first movie.
oh my god, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I keep forgetting about all these things. So that's
So do you think in Tony's universe he looks at like the Big Lebowski and he's like, that looks kind of like a guy I work
it's like
with.
Obadiah Stane. Were you an actor when you were a young man?
Like, are you a dudist? Do you participate in dudism?
What would be great if they went back to Iron Man 1 and Terrence Howard was still Rhodey before Don Cheadle became Rhodey again? And they're like, would be like someone hands him the contract where he's fired, he crumples it up and throws it on the floor. They'd be too mad. I like a Deadpool
Right?
movie.
They would just have to make a snarky joke like, you have a brilliant plastic surgeon. You look nothing like yourself.
Yeah.
Well, they make kind of a joke in like Iron Man 2. Like John Cheadle's first line is like, look, like his first line is like, I know I'm here, just move on.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like that's like how you should. I don't even like. First of all, I feel bad that Don Cheadle is in these movies and he never gets any love. We don't ever get like a cool War Machine moment. We do in Infinity War. He does like some real major blowing.
No,
out
Iron Man
shit
3,
up.
I think we got
I
some
liked him
cool.
a
We
lot
got
in
a
Civil
real
War.
badass Don Cheadle moment in Iron Man
Yeah,
3
he's
when he
pretty
finally
he's great in Civil
bumps
War.
out of that suit and just Superman
then,
punches
like,
dude in the face.
In Ultron, he's
And then
also
all of a
good.
sudden it's like, oh, you breathe
But he's
fire?
barely in Age
Okay.
of Ultron.
like the War Machine password, like War Machine rocks, and then at the very end, and then like he's telling the story at the party, and like nobody
That's good.
cares.
I'm talking about like an action moment, like a real like. 'cause
But
he's
then
been
at the end, it pays off. Like when he's like War Machine, like yeah, like and he gets to like tell the next party or whatever.
I feel like his best. I feel like you might be right. His best action scene is like in Civil War, where him and Tony fight Giant Man, and he's like going after Cap with the little sword thing he had. Like,
yeah,
he was cool in.
It's ain't gonna kill you, but not gonna tickle.
Yeah, I like that in Infinity War. There's that part where they're coming through that little sliver, and he's just blowing. There's just so much explosions. I'm like,
Right,
War
just
Machine
dropping nukes.
War Machine is really valuable. Like when your strongest people are like Captain America and Black Panther, they can only like fight, but he's got like all this arsenal of weaponry and stuff. He's really valuable in that movie. I like that when Doctor Strange comes back and he sees Tony's like, is this one of your things? He's like, if I tell you what happens, it won't happen. I like that. I like to feel like
I like that too.
I like that Doctor Strange probably knows like, you're gonna die and I can't tell you. I feel like he wants to say like, I'm sorry, or like, I'm sorry we didn't get along, or you're a good dude or whatever, but he doesn't. There's just nothing. And I feel like there's that little look he gives him when Tony like was like, you know what to do now.
Yeah.
And like he has the stuff. All those little like they really it's just right.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Exactly how it happens.
It is. I kind of felt like him and Doctor Strange could have got some more screen time together to like.
Doctor Strange got
develop
his screen time in Infinity War fighting Thanos, doing all the magic stuff.
Yeah, but I mean,
that was my
like,
favorite part
more
of the fight,
like
when it was just
kinda-
one-on-one Thanos
Yeah.
for Doctor Strange.
And Thanos is like, you have full of tricks, with
Right,
it,
but
you
I'm
didn't use your
talking
thing."
about like I kind of wanted more character dynamic between Tony Stark and Doctor Strange.
when he comes back.
Because they're both the same character.
At this point, they're all back. It's
Like
like
snarky
40 people
asshole.
are on screen. We have to like make time somewhere.
Right.
But
Like I kind of also wanted them either one or the other to sneak in like a Sherlock Holmes reference.
Yeah, like I think they said that during like the Infinity War tour, like everyone wanted them to say "no shit, Sherlock" or something like that, and I think one of them said, I think it was Benedict Cumberbatch, like that's just so corny.
What would have been great is if like they were in the middle of fighting somebody, and then like Iron Man does some cool like you know what would have been great to happen at is like when Corvus I can't remember what the big one
Korg.
No, it's one of Thanos' children. It's not Corvus Glaive. It's the big one. Is it Corvus Glaive?
I have no idea.
It's the big hulking.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, the one that got his arm chopped off by a portal.
And he's like, that's a thing right there. You need to turn into the Hulk, and he can't turn into the Hulk. So he uses the nanite suit, and you see that thing where the little pieces detach from him and make a big, cool blue laser beam. It would be cool if Doctor Strange was like, that's really impressive. And he was like, elementary. I would have been like, that'd be great. Put it in there. Rewrite the movies. Delete them all. Go back in time. Re-release them. Put my joke in. Do it, Marvel. I've run out of things to say about this movie.
Well, Marvel can't do that, especially if they're following their own rules, because then another universe will get that movie, and we won't. We will never get it. Yeah. It's impossible.
But
So we're gonna have to get Doc Emmett Brown to do it. It's the only possible way.
Do we want to like talk about like any of our like favorite MCU moments? Then we're gonna wrap it up.
I'm actually gonna sit down and I'm gonna make like an actual tier list of like all of the MCU.
It's gonna change. Don't bother.
No,
it'll change at some point.
It's just like the definitive like Infinity Saga.
Rewatch like the Thor movie, the first one.
It's whatever. Like it.
The top moment is like.
But
it's the final I am Iron Man.
But I think it's like right at that teetering of mediocre.
But I think it
kind of sucks.
I think it's better than Ragnarok or Dark World. I really do. Go watch it again. Just like I'm serious.
You just like Ragnarok way more than I do. Yeah. Like I like Ragnarok for what it is. Like it was just
hate
dumb
Ragnarok
fun
for what it is.
See, I think you focus on the wrong things. I was actually thinking about this earlier today. You hate like the villain. Like you hate Kate Blanchett.
I hate her stupid, sexy, arms wide open walk.
But
the women villains do.
Like you focus on her as like the villain,
but all she is knives.
All she is the device to get Thor to like the real part of the story.
That's bad though. That means that she's actively terrible. Then she exists only to serve the hero.
She's fine. She's whatever,
not.
Whatever. Like the
I
real
didn't care one way or the other about
Thor's
it.
Off world, and he's doing his like whole thing with the Hulk, and that's great. I like that.
That part's cool,
It's
but
just
the
a
rest
dumb
of
fun
it's
time.
fun. There's parts of it I don't hate.
It's way better than like Thor: Dark World, which is
it's not way better.
Awful.
It's better, but it's not way better.
Awful.
Is this bland?
And Thor is just like a fine or
like the only good parts of Thor: The Dark World was every Tom Hiddleston scene.
I like the first Thor movie for the acting. I really went back and I watched it.
You like Natalie Portman's acting?
I like Tom Hiddleston's acting. I think he's still better.
Tom Hiddleston's acting is
in that movie than any other movie. Even the ones where he's funny, like the part where like Odin tells him he's a frost giant. He's like, "Tell me!" And he screams at him. It's so raw. Yeah. There's the part where Coulson shuts the door and you see Loki in the mirror as he appears before Thor to tell him, "Oh, you're still banished." And Chris Hemsworth cries, and it's such a nice scene. I was like, man, they're so good here. And this movie gets kind of forgotten, and I think it's better than the other ones because people got attached to like Thor as a funny, like jokey barbarian, and they forgot that there is a serious side to him. And the movie was called Thor Ragnarok, the end of all things to come. And it's like it's just this funny action romp, and I just felt jilted. The Hulk fight's cool, and it's Jeff Goldblum's in it. Hooray! But like I just don't think it's that good. I feel like people they see jokes.
I think the themes that you take away from it are good, and I think it's solid. And like,
I feel like the themes are like, but like, what's the heart of the movie?
It's like the heart of it is like there's like the part like with Bruce Banner's journey of like, I feel like I'm locked in a box forever, and then like you get like Hulk, like you get like the duality between them.
Here's my thing. That should be the heart of the movie. Here's an example of how the movie cuts itself off at its own legs. There's a part in the movie where Banner says, this is after he turns back into Bruce Banner. He says, "If I turn back into the Hulk again, I may never come back."
Yeah.
And there's a part where he's looking down at that bridge, and he has this. Like what should happen is there's this roiling moment of turmoil. All that we really get is he looks at Valkyrie and he goes, "Watch this," and then he jumps out. And then he smacks onto the bridge, and it's a funny moment. He's about to turn back into the Hulk, maybe for the last time forever. We know it's not gonna be the last time forever, but like it could be a big character moment where he chooses to be the savage and sacrifice his own wants and needs, which is to go back to Earth and go home.
Yeah.
And it's nothing. It's not a character arc. It's squandered for humor.
Because we all knew it was bullshit anyway.
Like the moment where, like, first of all, the added on thing of like here's where your father is, and they reshot the footage, like where she grabs the hammer and remember from the trailers where the background changed?
Yeah.
Because they reshot where Odin was and everything, and they just meet him, and he goes, "She's coming. Who? Hela, the goddess of death." It's just so ham-fisted in there. Like, who is this? Why have we not heard of her before? You're telling me 5 seconds before I have to meet her, and he just fades away. And they try to give him an arc where, like, Asgard is not a place. It never was at the very end. Are you the god of thunder or the god of hammers? And, like, it's his turning into the god of thunder is not like a character arc that I felt was earned. It felt like a thing that just happens. And
I mean, it should have, that kind of character arc was already kind of earned for him. But
the arc is completed in Infinity War. It's kind of started in Ragnarok, and it's the Ragnarok is more concerned.
So I feel like Infinity War kind of undercuts Ragnarok in that, like, they're finally like, well, you know, Asgard is not a place. It's like it's a people, but then like they immediately all die, and
then they don't all die because they're in Endgame.
Yeah.
Like that.
But then in like Endgame, like Thor just quits, and he's like, I'm not going to be Thor anymore. You're Thor, whatever.
Yeah. I feel like they've struggled to find the right arc for him. I feel like the closest they ever came was Infinity War, where he comes back and like vengeful Thor is kind of what I wanted. I feel like Thor Ragnarok is funny. I laugh at all the same parts that everyone else laughs at when he throws the wall against the glass ball and it whacks him back in the face. I just feel like it's a movie in search of heart because it has no heart. It's just jokes and fun and formula, but it's not like there's no like roiling humanity. Not
yeah, that movie,
serious.
like I did love Thor Ragnarok, but it is a purely just Disney formula. Like it is just the math equation. That's it.
Yeah, and I even feel like for me, I am interested to see if he continues as Thor because I feel like now we're at a point where like you can do whatever with him now. He can be anybody now. I mean, he's got to get we have to explain how he gets back in shape so quick. 5 years of fat or whatever.
Well, I mean, he's Asgardian. They might have it.
We'll just do a quick montage at the beginning of the movie. It'll be fun,
right? Like,
what if they do the Bowflex from?
It's just him and Peter Quill like working out like in front of each other.
Just angrily, Peter Quill was like, "I'm not getting fat," and like, "Come on, you're one sandwich away from fat." So he buys the Bowflex and Thor hogs it the whole time. That'd be a great little bit.
Right? Yeah, I just love how Drax is.
I feel like Thor Ragnarok is just like they watched the Guardians of the Galaxy and saw the success of it, and like, can we just do that? Make it a spacey adventure.
They were also worried that like Thor Dark World didn't work at all. Like they need to find a way to make Thor likable on his own and not like as a part of like an ensemble where he works just fine. And it's just Thor Dark World doesn't work. Thor is just okay.
But ironically, like Thor Ragnarok is an ensemble movie. Because it's him, Valkyrie, Hulk, and...
But exactly, but that's how those characters work, though.
Yeah.
And it's just like Thor by itself is fine.
You know what?
Thor Dark World sucked.
Yeah, you know I can best way put it
Thor. I like the first Thor movie. Yeah. I thought it was...
I think the action...
It's just fine. Do you love it, though?
I mean, I don't love it, but I think it's more than just fine.
Iron Man. I was a Captain America fanboy for years. It was like, but Thor, he was just fine at first. Like they just had.
But, I mean, it is where he gets.
I think they hit the right note with Ragnarok. I mean, like sometimes he's overly goofy.
Yeah,
and I think they can like bring some of those serious moments into it. And I think they do.
When I say rewatch
the
first Thor movie, I feel like if you rewatch it and look at like the acting and the character stuff, it is really genuinely great. It's better than both the other ones. Maybe not action wise, maybe not humor wise, but like I feel like. The acting, Chris Hemsworth is really good in that. Deceptively good.
That and at first, like
she's the real thickie.
In the beginning of Ragnarok, he's not the one making all those jokes.
By the way, Shazam is in for
She should have been in that women montage. What the hell?
Yeah, the actor couldn't get the actress back or whatever. Shazam, by the way, what's his name? Zachary Levi is Fandral in the Thor movies. He doesn't even get one line of dialogue when he's killed in Thor Ragnarok. Good for him getting out of those movies. Be your own superhero, man. Go watch Shazam, Ryan. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah. But I mean, at the beginning of Thor Ragnarok, it's not just him being like throwing all the jokes and stuff around. He's actually like having serious moments. It's everyone around him is cracking jokes. Like when he's thrown in that prison cell.
What you mean when he's rotating in the chain, making jokes every 15 seconds? Oh, coming back around. Hold on. Like it's like it's all jokes from the beginning. He's standing before like this awesome fiery demon like Surtur, voiced by Clancy Brown. Like I was like, this is gonna be so epic, and then it's just
another day at the office for Thor.
Gotta swing back around.
Yeah. Anyway, the best way I can sum it up is like I can see the Marvel formula the easiest on that movie. Even if it's better than even if it's better than some movies, it is the most blatantly obvious of those movies. And I don't like the fact that they're like, it's like they're stealing my money with just being like, there's enough in here that you'll like. And
I don't know. It entertained me and it didn't offend me. And it was like I wasn't bored. And it was just,
I would rather it have offended me. There are parts in like DC movies that offend me, but I let go because like there are risks. There are these big risks. Batman's a murderer, like in Batman v Superman. I love it. Like take risks, take my money, make me want it back even. But like I want the risks and like
making Thor fat.
No, it's not what I want. And you know it, Ryan. I want his chiseled abs. No, like that's my favorite Marvel movies are the ones that do feel like they're a risk. Even like Guardians 2 feels like they take risks, so I forgive some of the humor. Yeah. Like that man may have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy. Like that got me. Like, I teared up like a baby. Yeah. So like I'll forgive some of it if like there are some risks that are taken or whatever. But Thor Ragnarok feels riskless. Yeah. It feels like the safest movie you could have made.
I do kind of like it, 'cause, like in Guardians, especially in Guardians 2, there were those moments with Yondu and Peter Quill that like they were funny, but they were genuine and they fit.
Yeah.
Like the Mary Poppins. Yo,
I love that
because he was sitting here like, dude, you look like Mary Poppins up there. And he's like, is he cool? He's like, the coolest, man.
Yeah, he's cool. I'll let him have
No, he was generally like, oh, he's the coolest. Because he was looking at him like he was the coolest.
Or the moment,
Mary Poppins, y'all.
Or even the moment where Yondu's like, I don't use my head to use the arrow boy, I use my heart or whatever. It's like that's like he is his dad. Like he gives him he points him in all the right directions, even though he's a piece of shit. Like I'll take that, but like
he even has that moment with Rocket where he kind of helps Rocket get some character development. I kind of hate that moment with
Rocket because they spell it out a little too much. We're like I am you boys. Like yeah, we got it without you saying it. Like.
But Rocket didn't get it. That was the point.
Yeah, even Bradley Cooper's delivery is like, "You back away! I'm not playing, man." Like it's too much. But like, I'll forgive that if like the payoff's good. But for Thor Ragnarok, the payoff is like, all of Asgard's on a ship now. We're in space. Hulk
Does anyone else find it weird that like Bradley Cooper or Vin Diesel like did not go like that? You don't see him promoting it or with interviews with any of the other actors anywhere.
You see, Vin Diesel's promoted in the Guardians movies.
Well, the first one, yeah.
He was on like Jimmy Fallon or whatever, and he was promoting like how to say I am Groot in a bunch of different languages.
Yeah. I did think that was cool. Did you also know like Baby Groot and Teenage Groot, that's just still his actual voice? Yeah, like he's not using any kind of like tech or whatever to alter it. He's just doing it himself.
Yeah, that's fine.
Which I actually thought was rather impressive. I feel
like we didn't get a nice moment when Groot is back with Rocket. I wanted like a come here, you son of a bitch. Like I wanted like a big hug or something. We didn't get that.
I felt like didn't we get a small thing? I don't remember. Like
I don't think so.
Okay.
I thought
we did. I think we did. I want to say.
I feel like I would
go see it.
But I mean,
I feel
there
like
was just so many moments you couldn't
Rocket
fit them all.
like, yeah.
You had to extend it by like another half hour to 45 minutes.
I feel like the strength of this movie is that like it does have dips and plot holes more than Infinity War, but like
the high is so high.
The highs are really high, and like the big battle when Thanos is like, I'm gonna I've all the violence I've committed or whatever, I'm going to enjoy what I do to your planet the most. And he has that big army. His army feels way better in this movie than Infinity War. Yeah. That big, like, long shot. We see, like, the massive army and the ships and the stuff. I feel like that should have been Infinity War. Like, more of that. Like, where were the flying things, the wormy things in Infinity War? Why didn't we bring them?
Because Tony nuked them all in the first movie, remember?
No.
Yeah.
I'm sure he had more. Because that wasn't Thanos' whole army. It was just like one ship.
Whatever.
I mean, maybe. I don't
really
know.
So Thanos built up an entire like world-conquering level army in like 6 years.
Yeah, they just parked it all in one parking lot like they did in Force Awakens.
Yeah, I am glad that we didn't get like a.
Well, we didn't actually get to see
like
how he got the Power Stone in
Game of
Shintar.
Thrones
So
level
like,
nuke the enemy and all the other ones die thing. You know what I mean? Like you kill the mothership and all the drones shut down. Yeah. I was glad that it was just like a big battle. I like that.
Well, they already did that in the first Avengers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm glad they didn't do that. But like, I liked the fact that like Thanos is like rain fire on us. Like we'll kill our own troops. Like I don't give a shit.
Can we just talk about how much of a goat Wanda is? She's the goat. Like every time, like in Civil War, like she was putting in all the work.
Yeah.
And then she was like about to murder Thanos, and then he was just going like, yo, rain fire on them.
Yeah.
Please win button.
Yeah. Thanos is he gives it his all. That's it. It's fun to see like. I feel like a lot of superhero movies either write or film around the action that we kind of want to see. Like that's one of the reasons that like I want like I'm kind of happy that Captain Marvel feels like the strongest character. So when she comes back, we get like a super powered throwdown. Yeah. Like I want like
that was like Thor in the last movie.
Yeah, like or something like that. Like I want like superhero like when you watch the Justice League cartoons and like Superman would punch someone through a building. I'm like, yes. So like when Thanos and Captain Marvel fight, I feel like we're getting like some real unseen or unheard levels of strength, even though like even in that's the cool thing about like Shazam and stuff, like his powers are impressive. There's that scene in the trailer where he catches the bus, and you never see like Thor, like remember in Wonder Woman when she lifts up like that tank when Ares is trying to convince her to like kill whatever Dr. Poison or whatever, stuff like that. We don't ever get to see like super strength anymore. It feels so quaint now, but I still want to see it. I still want to see like super powered characters. So I want like the Sentry in this universe or someone like that. It'd be cool. Who should they have after Thanos? This is the last thing that we're hanging it up.
My vote is Doctor Doom. Since they got Fox's rights.
Fantastic Foe. I'd watch that.
It's like either him or Galactus.
Yeah, I want to see
a little
Galactus.
Weird for me.
I feel like Galactus is hard because it's a literal giant man.
No, giant face. So that's why I'm leaning towards Doctor Doom.
No, Galactus is a man. He's a big giant. He has arms and legs.
Yeah, but I mean that would be kind of hard because I mean most of the time he's like rendered the size of an entire planet.
Yeah, that's my point. Is like how do you fight / defeat that? How would he be fast and like it's so outlandish. Like it's almost
they
impossible.
made weird stuff work at this point. So
I do like because Fantastic Four has like the Silver Surfer and stuff. Like I want to see that, but like I don't want to see a giant cloud anymore.
Ooh no! Who was it? It was
that was terrible.
And Green Lantern. This is twice.
I think it
why
should be
whoever was. See that movie,
why are they obsessed with clouds? There's parts to it that aren't terrible, but it's a terrible movie. I'll say it.
Actually, I kind of want to see who is the opposite of Adam Warlock. His like negative persona or whatever.
I can't remember. I
can't remember either. But
I know very little about Adam Warlock.
But I think that would be good because I know Adam Warlock was part of the Infinity Watch, and he can wield the Infinity Gauntlet without.
He's going to be in Guardians 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, they teased him in one and
Thor's
two.
going to be there. Something like what's going to go down. I'm curious.
Right.
I do like the idea of Doctor Doom. Someone said Kang the Conqueror. It's pretty cool, but that's also kind of tied into Fantastic Four because he's like Reed Richards' ancient descendant or something, or future descendant or something like that. A lot of the good ones are like tied to like Fantastic Four. I feel like Dormammu was squandered, even though like I like the I'm here to bargain scene.
Yeah,
that was so good.
I like Dormammu.
Yeah, he was outwitted. He was not defeated.
Dormammu as a character, I would like. He's a big guy with a fiery head. Like I want to see that, not a big Benedict Cumberbatch face. That is his face, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah, that's Benedict Cumberbatch's face. He does Dormammu, and they just give him a weird face. You ever see him as Smaug in The Hobbit, where he's like doing the motion capture on the ground and stuff? It's so weird and cool. Kudos to that guy. There was a friend of mine brought up a really good one. I can't remember. Doctor Doom would be pretty cool.
I think that's the clear choice for me.
I want like a Lex Luthor-y. He's just a man, but he's only as dangerous as he is.
But he's like a super genius at the same time.
Yeah, like he's but every time they've done Doctor Doom, he gets powers or something. Like he doesn't have superpowers that I understand. He's like their Lex Luthor. He's intelligent and he's out for blood. Like I want that to, we kind of got that with like Baron Zemo, but even then it's kind of whatever. Like I want like a guy who like can dismantle the Avengers by himself. And I want to see what the Avengers look like now. Because like all those characters are still there, but like we're not going to see War Machine anymore, I bet, or some of those. Probably
he's
Spider-Man is going to have to step up and be.
They definitely have to win me over again. Like like last time. I mean, I'm down to see Spider-Man.
Just see the solo movies and see where they go. Really.
Yeah.
Um.
Speaking of, I think it's kind of weird. Like Mysterio
Spider-Man.
is actually teaming with Spider-Man, not against him.
That's a misdirect. At the end, he's gonna pull some like, I have to do this to save them all.
Yeah.
That's why I have to kill all these people or something like that.
Right.
I do like that Jake Gyllenhaal's in that movie. He doesn't do a lot of like big superhero-y stuff.
I don't think he's done any superhero movie.
No. Last thing that even came close was like he did Prince of Persia back in the day.
That was a video game.
I know,
movie.
but like it's the closest he came to like a big action-y blockbuster. I
Yeah.
can't remember another one.
Which I actually like that movie. I didn't think it was bad, but I've also never played the game either.
But like
so.
the Spider-Verse opens up a lot of cool villains that could like, you know.
It does. I do.
A Sinister Six movie where the Avengers take them on maybe or something.
Mm.
Kind of set him up. I know that's like we want to see Spider-Man do that, but if Spider-Man's fighting 6 supervillains and he's a member of the Avengers, why wouldn't
I do want to see
show
just
up?
a bunch of like the new Spider-Man movies.
I feel like that's the thing that like I really wish you had seen Justice League because I want to hear like that's the one thing that Marvel hasn't even attempted yet is like a team of supervillains. And at the end of Justice League, which they no way committed to at all, we see Lex, and they even reshot one line of the end credit scene where Deathstroke comes up to the boat or whatever, and Lex Luthor.
Just a Legion of Doom thing.
Yeah, it's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
Deathstroke's like, you better not be wasting my time, and he's like, oh well, the god is out of the ground and back up into the sky. It's like he's starting some sort of league, and then this is where the reshot scene is because they showed a picture of Jesse Eisenberg with the green screen behind it, so they reshot this and added it in, or Joss Whedon did, where he said, "Should let me speak plainly that shouldn't we have a league of our own?" And then it kind of cuts to black or whatever. Like a team of supervillains. Sounds intriguing. You remember that episode of Justice League Unlimited where the Suicide Squad infiltrate the Watchtower?
I never watched Unlimited. I watched a lot of the original series.
It's a fantastic episode. Where it's like Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, Plastique, and like a lot of these like no-name C-listers. And they infiltrate the Watchtower, steal a bunch of stuff, and they like stare down Martian Manhunter at the end and like manage to get away.
Yeah.
And it's really good. I imagine like a plot like that, like one half heisty movie where we see it from the point of view of the villains, and then at the end we have the big clash where they have to fight each other. That would be.
This would be a fun idea for a Justice League
I don't
movie.
like what, the Thunderbolts. Aren't they Marvel's super villainy team, or is that like their Suicide Squad? Do a Thunderboltsy movie. I don't know. I would like to see that. Is what I'm saying.
Right. I kind of think a good Justice League like movie would be like the Invasion of the White Martians or whatever.
Yeah,
that would be awesome.
I remember reading that comic when. It was Grant Morrison who did that when the Hyper Clan comes and they pretend to be superheroes, and the only one who doesn't really trust them is Batman because they're doing good work or whatever. Like, I don't trust it. But at the end of the thing, like they dismantle all the Justice League, but they leave Batman to die off in the snow somewhere. And at the end of the movie, like they like it's like a horror movie thing where like the White Martians. We still think they're superheroes, but they find one of their own strung up and like lynched or whatever with a batarang in his chest, and there's a note that says, "I know your secret" or whatever. And he dismantles them horror movie style, all one by one. Yeah. And they have Superman tied up, and the leader's like, "What's happening? We thought we killed this man. He's just a man." And Superman goes, "He's the most dangerous man on the planet, and you left him alive," or whatever. It's a great comic book. This has been the movie date. It's way too long. It's way too late. We've talked about this way too long, but.
Well,
I don't regret it.
Yeah, we had to. It was Avengers Endgame.
This has been the Movie Date Podcast. I'm sure the next episode will be coming soon. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Thank you to Ryan for being here.
Absolutely.
Thank you for Emmett for being here.
Oh, I enjoyed the hell
Thank
of
you
it.
to me for also being here. I mean, I live here. It'd be weird if I wasn't here. But
yeah, it'd just be awkward.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know this guy, so we'd just be sitting here awkwardly like, "Hey man, what's up?"
Yeah. Well, goodbye, everyone.
And so long.